dialogues exploring the nuance of these subjects. I'm sorry that I'm not in it for the 5-second like quick clip. I'm sorry that I'm not in it to talk on like the level of a third grader, and that I'm in it for these more nuanced dialogues. I guess you're just gonna have to get used to that when you talk to people that are more intelligent than yourself. But go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you could also following it also with an attack on me. But the reason I mention that is because when I'm saying Japanese, I understand when it comes to the interlocutor, what I'm trying to prove is I'm trying to derive some sort of a moral principle from you. Okay, so when you're asking me these hypotheticals, I mean the hypothetical scenarios are like a foundational tool for developing and testing moral principles in philosophy and ethics. So you're okay to do that. What I'm saying to you is that when you're asking me the question of, I am in a burning building, and this individual, this woman, happens to have a dish full of frozen zygotes. Okay, what are you trying to derive from me? From choosing, if I choose the infant over the actual petri dish full of the zygotes, what moral principle are you deriving from me?
Sure, great question. So if you were to like first suggest the principle that you think that all human life is as uniquely valuable as one another, and you like would state that you think that like a human zygote has the right to life, and you think that a human zygote is just as valuable as any other human, including an individual such as yourself or I, and then you were to like save like one newborn baby over like 10 human zygotes, right? It would be a contradiction of the view in the sense that you would choose to save, right, the lower amount of value, the lower amount of like valuable life forms compared to the higher amount of valuable life forms, when in like any reasonable circumstances we would always choose to like maximize choose to maximize saving like the most valuable life possible, right? But you'd like not be maximizing the saving like the most valuable life possible and choosing like the newborn baby over the 10
Wait,
zygotes.
can you stop for a minute?
In accordance
I'm
with
sorry,
the view
I have to
that you think a human zygote is just as morally valuable as a newborn baby.
Okay, great. Let me just stop you for a minute. Okay, couple problems here. In medicine, for example, don't we have triage?
Are you talking about like triage, like trauma, like medicine?
Yeah. Tell me how triage works in the medical field.
I'm not sure.
No. Please tell me how it works.
I'm not sure how it works.
Okay, can I educate you then?
Sure, you could tell me how triage works.
Yeah, sound good. Triage is a protocol that hospitals use, okay, in regards to valuing certain people in certain crises over other. Okay, so in the same way that triage utilizes priority on one's life over others, okay, in certain scenarios, choosing to save, let's say, the born child over the zygote in a crisis isn't about rejecting the zygote's value. It's about responding to levels of potential suffering in this actual case. So you're just putting me in a scenario where now I am granting both moral worth, but I have to take into consideration the suffering aspect, because yes, you are right. When it comes to the suffering aspect, the zygote isn't going to experience the suffering in comparison to the actual infant, which is going to be experiencing suffering. This hypothetical does not take away the value I am attributing to the actual zygote's life.
Interesting.
Can you please tell me how it is?
Interesting.
Tell me how it is.
I actually think that your view here would enjoy like a pro-choice worldview. So like ultimately speaking, if like your goal here isn't to save as many valuable life forms as possible, but is rather to reduce like human suffering as much as possible, then wouldn't you say that you would like endorse the pro-choice worldview and you think that women and girls should have the right to kill fetuses prior to the point of sentience and or consciousness, due to the fact that like when you kill a fetus, the fetus wouldn't feel suffering, yet when a woman would abort a fetus from her uterus, her suffering would be reduced. So in the same sense, you think that you'd be internally justified to choose the newborn baby over the 10 zygotes, even though you think that the newborn baby has just as much value as the 10 zygotes, because ultimately your goal isn't to save as many valuable life forms as possible, but rather to reduce suffering as much as possible, that you could actually say that the fetus is a valuable life form while still empirically recognizing that it can't feel suffering prior to consciousness. Therefore, you still think that women and girls should have access to abortion for the ultimate goal of a reduction of human suffering?
Okay, listen, just so you know, you don't have to mute me when I'm off mute. I just want to be able to respond. I don't want to keep tapping my phone. Okay, dude? There's a problem. You just straw man my entire argument.
How so?
Please take a step back for a minute.
How did I straw man?
You gave me a hypothetical. In the hypothetical presented to me, there was a compounding factor I had to actually recognize, and that was the suffering. Because I mentioned the suffering in this actual hypothetical, you then took it upon yourself to assume that my position is always to reduce to the least amount of suffering. It's a straw man in my position. So please go back to what I was saying, and I'm asking you to stop yapping because it doesn't follow at all.
Can
Do you
explain
understand
how
what I'm
that doesn't
saying?
follow?
Do you understand what I'm saying when I said there's a compounding factor I had to address in the hypothetical?
Yeah,
What did I mean?
I think in addressing the compounding factor of like giving more like weight to like a consideration of human
Thank
suffering
you. So why are
compared to
you
a
strawmanning my
consideration of
position?
compared to a consideration of moral value, right? Would be like
So
a
why
fair,
did you then
would be
assume
a
that
fair
my
response to the
position?
hypothetical. However, right, like the question that I asked you in turn about how giving more weight to human suffering compared to like human moral value, wouldn't it be a straw man? In fact, it would be directly consequential of the suggested like moral principle.
Wait,
Because
no, the
once
straw.
again, if you hold a moral principle where you like value like human suffering and the reduction of human suffering more than you value, right, like the intrinsic moral value rooted within human life and saving
Oh
as
my
many
God.
valuable lives as possible, then like seemingly this would like imply the pro-choice view where you'd say even though, right, the fetus has the right to life, even though you think the fetus is morally valuable, ultimately thinking that women and girls should have access to abortion still results in less human suffering when compared, right, to the pro-life view, in which would say women and girls should not have access to human suffering. Because although under the pro-choice view, right, women and girls would be killing fetuses, which is a life form that you think is morally valuable, just like the 10 zygotes in the hypothetical, when you kill that fetus, there is no suffering experience. However, when you kill that fetus, there is a reduction in the level of suffering experienced by the woman or girl accessing abortion.
Okay. Listen, dude, I want to be very clear here because for everybody here, Dean is continuously muting me. This is what happened last time because Dean knows that he's getting cornered and he's scared. So, Dean, let me go back a minute because you keep going forward and not addressing the points I'm making. So let's be very clear. I need you to explain to me in the hypothetical presented with the burning building. And now I have a compounding factor, which is the pain and suffering. I explained to you that due to the compounding factor, I have to choose the child, to save the child due to it me not wanting to experience unnecessary pain. You then assume the position that I now want to reduce all suffering. That is my end goal. So let me ask you this question. In the scenario of a woman getting an abortion, please tell me how you can correlate this scenario to that, who is getting harmed, and where is the pain and suffering occurring in actually, and listen closely, take the hypothetical and apply it now to the actual real life scenario. A woman's having an abortion, an elective abortion. Let's say the reason is she's having the elective abortion because she wants to go to college. Tell me where's the pain and suffering happening here?
The pain and suffering would be induced via conflict of interests within the woman's well-being via the presence and existence of the pregnancy in the first place.
Elaborate.
I did just elaborate. Like
No,
human suffering
elaborate.
on a philosophical
I need you to elaborate.
human
No, elaborate.
suffering
Break down.
human suffering on a philosophical
human
level.
suffering.
I am
Yeah,
elaborating. I'm breaking it down.
Go ahead, break it down. Break it down for everybody here, please.
Ben, so you just told the chat that like I'm muting you because I'm getting cooked, right? But the reason why I've
You are
muted you and I'm about to mute you again most likely is because like you're interrupting me.
Go ahead, talk.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So I'll go ahead and elaborate a little bit more. So on a philosophical level, human suffering can be best understood as a conflict of desires within the well-being of a morally valuable life. And when I say conflict of desires, I just mean the introduction of some undesirable state of affairs, right? Suffering is most typically understood as an undesirable state of affairs. Some suffering can be good, some suffering can be bad, or I mean, not good and bad, but rather justified or unjustified. But like in this circumstance, obviously, when we're looking at like a woman or a girl that is pregnant and doesn't want to be pregnant, that pregnancy is necessarily introducing a conflict in the state of her desires related to her well-being, therefore inducing an undesirable state of affairs. Now, this is a necessary implication via the fact that she wants to terminate the pregnancy. Because if she didn't want to terminate the pregnancy, then there wouldn't be an introduction of an undesirable state of affairs in relationship to that pregnancy. But because she does want to terminate the pregnancy, then it is necessarily making the implication that therefore that pregnancy is inducing an undesirable state of affairs against the woman's well-being, meaning that the woman would be suffering, right? And I mean, there's like the nuanced breakdown about how like a woman or girl would experience suffering given the existence of a pregnancy. But I honestly feel like this is like common sense.
Yeah, can I respond, buddy?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Okay, great. Desires are subjective. Suffering has objective moral weight. Okay, so yeah, desires can conflict and vary, but suffering has like a moral dimension independent of preference. So
Then
yeah,
what do
you can
think
desire.
suffering is?
Wait. Listen. Don't cut me off. Let me finish here. So
Okay.
like, you can desire to do something harmful, right? Like let's say like extreme training, right?
You could desire to like extreme train, yeah?
Yeah. So like, but the pain remains real, right?
Right, like the undesirable like state of pain while you
Right,
be,
we
like,
don't we don't
hitting
we
the
don't
gym
consider the
would
moral.
persist.
Wait, we don't. Why don't we consider the moral weight of pain based on desire, but on the nature? But we do it on the nature and intensity of suffering. So, like,
I'm confused on the
you're
question that
taking-
you're asking. Like, are you saying like
No, 'cause
why don't we attribute
yeah,
any moral
I'd be
weight to like the
confused.
suffering experienced by an individual
Right.
hitting the gym? It's
You're
because
saying that the
moral.
woman's-
It's because in order to attribute moral weight to anything, it has to be intentionally caused by a moral actor. However, the like intentional
Sure.
causation of that state of suffering when an individual's in the gym is caused by themselves, meaning they are their own moral actor, and typically because
Great.
of like some assumption of a right to bodily autonomy without harm being ingressed or caused onto others, we wouldn't consider that to be suffering worth any moral weight. But I want to ask you a question because when you first started talking, you said that there's a separation between like states of desirability or states of undesirability and suffering, right? You said that desirability and undesirability is subjective. Meanwhile, suffering is objective. I feel like this statement, suffering is objective in of itself, is complete and total gibberish and nonsense. And I'll go ahead and prove it to you. The way that I'm going to prove it to you is by having you answer two incredibly specific questions. The first incredibly specific question would be, define suffering. And then the second incredibly specific question would be, define objective. Go ahead and answer those two
Yeah, sure. So
incredibly
suffering is going to
specific
be
questions.
basically. Yeah, so suffering is going to be like basically pain, which has like a biological, not just a physiological basis. So I'm going to say it's basically like neuroreceptors, fire when tissue damage occurs. So basically anything that are you okay with that?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just laughing
No,
at you
no,
because this is gonna make you look really, really wrong.
Oh, yeah, sure it is. So I'm saying that pain has a biological, not just a physiological basis. So like all your argument is going to be is that there is a physiological
Hey, I have a
aspect
question.
of suffering.
Is pain a subjective experience?
No,
What, dude?
Absolutely
Are you
not.
kidding me? Wait, so you'd say that like actors without a
Yeah.
mind can experience pain?
no. What I'm saying.
Okay,
when
then
I'm saying
define
that
pain.
Wait. Let me respond, please. When I just said that pain is not a subjective experience, I mean that an action that causes pain can cause a physiological response in another individual across the board, which can be considered to be objective. Like, for example, we can all agree that 9/11 caused a lot of trauma on us, correctly? Would you say that's an
Caused a lot of
objectively
pain?
true statement?
The
Emotional pain.
So
Emotional pain.
The experience of the pain was a subjective experience. However, you could say that it is mind independently true or objectively true that individuals experience this mind dependent experience of pain.
Sure.
Right?
And I'm okay with it. But
But like
yes.
the experience of pain in of itself is a subjective one.
Are you muting me? I said, sure, I'm okay with that.
Okay, so you're okay
Also,
with
I have
accepting
2 minutes left.
So
I have
you're
2 minutes left. I have to
Okay,
leave.
well, I'm going to use the last 2 minutes to absolutely fool
ahead.
your ass. So earlier you
Wait,
said
we'll
that
finish it
suffering.
tomorrow.
One moment. Earlier you said that suffering was an objective experience, and then I asked you to define suffering. You defined suffering as pain, and then you just conceded that pain is a subjective experience, meaning that because you define suffering as pain, and because pain is a subjective experience, that therefore suffering is a subjective experience, absolutely contradicting and proving you to be a raging idiot because earlier you told us that
Wait.
it's an objective experience.
Wait. How am I a raging idiot when I literally cut you off and explained to you that it can have a the subjective experience can have an actual objective output on like on other people?
Well, I think now you're just confused in of yourself, like what with what you're saying yourself. So you're saying that this subjective experience can like it could be objectively true that this subjective experience is being experienced. Sure, like it's an objective fact that like I felt pain when my last when my current girlfriend like broke up with me a while back, like 3 years ago, right? However, right, that doesn't change the fact that still yet the pain that I felt was a subjective experience. Do
Why
you
do
get
you
that
keep muting?
disconnect?
Keep muting me.
Like it could be like objectively true that I'm
Yeah,
subjectively
sure, Dean.
feeling
Well,
something.
listen. If you want to finish the conversation tomorrow, but to be clear, you muted me the whole entire live. You muted me most of this live. I was
mean,
muted.
I think the only times when I muted you is when you're interrupting me. But
You had your hand on the mute button. You were spam muting me, or your mods were. I don't know who was doing it.
Okay.
But how can we have a discourse if you're just muting me?
Well, I mean, like even right there, do you like realize how you interrupted me when I was midway through my sentence?
Yes, but if you notice that if I interrupt you and you
Right.
continue to talk, I kind of stop for a minute and I listen. I'm just trying to stop. I was trying to say like a couple times in between what you were saying. I wanted to stop and just take a step back to address my initial position, and you just kept spam muting me. I couldn't stop.
Well, I mean, because I think that
Well,
sometimes,
come on,
like,
dude.
I think that like many times, like muting can be like justified, especially like in the circumstance of like incessant interruptions, such as like you've been doing on me. But I mean, just to kind of like
Sure.
ignore the meta conversation that you're trying to enter into and go back to the last point, you told me that suffering's objective, right?
I'm saying depending on how I need to know how you're using the word subjective. You need to explain definitions to me. I need to know how they're being used.
For sure, I could teach you what subjective means. It means mind.
No, not
dependent.
teach me. I know I'm saying how are you using it?
I'm using the term subjective to denote something in which is mind dependent.
Okay, wait, mind dependent,
Yeah.
but in which way? Because something that is objective can also be mind dependent.
No, it can't.
Wait, is it objectively true that the sun sets in the sun sets every morning?
Yeah.
Does every subjective person experience see that?
I mean, they can.
So would it be objective?
Yeah, because if no person exists, if no
Would it
minds
be
exist,
subjectively? Would it be
let me-
subjectively objective?
Let me
Would it
explain
be
it to you.
subjectively objective?
Let me ask you a question. If no humans existed,
Wow, dude.
if no mind ever existed, would the sun still set in the morning? Or sorry, would the
Yeah,
sun still
yeah.
rise in the morning? Okay, so
Sure,
because even if no mind ever existed, the sun would still rise in the morning.
Correct.
Then the sun
Correct.
rising is not dependent on a mind.
Right. So that's why I'm saying. Would you say it's subjectively objective?
Subjectively objective is a contradiction. You're saying
Right,
something is
well,
mind dependently mind
We all
independent.
witness something. We all witness something.
Wait, one second.
to
Can we
exist.
just clarify that like the phrase subjectively objective is a contradiction? You're saying it's
It
like
is. Some
saying
people use that. Wait. But people use that. They use that terminology.
no one
They do
should ever
use-
no one should ever use that terminology. It's because
I agree.
it's incoherent
I
and
agree with you.
contradictory.
That's why I want to know how you're using terms. I want to make sure we're clear.
So
on
you
this.
just agreed that it's contradictory to say subjectively objective, but you asked
Yes.
me if something was subjectively objective.
No, I'm saying the experience of the sun setting. Okay.
Oh, so
if every
so
single
like the mental
subjective
state.
person.
So the
oh my
men-
gosh, dude.
the mental
Wow.
state or the qualia of observing the
it's gonna-
sunset is a subjective experience. However, the sun setting in of itself is not a subjective experience, as the sun setting is not dependent on any mind. However, an experience of observing the sunset is dependent on that mind. I hope that I'm seriously, man. I'm not even trying to be like mean or rude. I'm like educating you on like elementary philosophical
Wait,
concepts, which is
dude,
cool.
you're not. Listen, you're just trying to like again attack my position. I understand that objective things are true, independent of belief or the mind.
Yeah, that's what
I understand that.
Right. So therefore,
Correct.
Therefore, a
But you're not
sun setting.
educating me.
Well, I don't think that you actually do understand that because you told me that like the
Of
sun
course.
setting.
Here's how it happens. This is how it happens.
Listen.
You start yapping. You don't let me talk,
Listen real quick.
and then you think you won.
So I don't think that you understand what objective means, and my evidence is you told me that the sun
I
setting.
just gave you the definition of it. I just gave you the definition of objective.
You told me that the sun setting was subjective.
Correct. And then I said, does every subjective experience or person see the sunset?
So like minds can experience the view of the sun setting. However, somebody doesn't have to experience or see the sun setting in order for the sun to set. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
let me yes.
Because
Give me
right
10
now-
seconds to
because right
respond.
now
Give
you're
me 10
equivocating.
seconds to respond.
For
dude.
sure. Let me just
10
like
Oh my God.
in like 5 words, I'm going to tell you what you're equivocating on. So what you're doing is you're
dude.
equivocating between the sun actually setting, which is an objective thing, and the experience of watching the sunset, which is a subjective thing. So when you first said, right, the sun setting is a subjective thing, right? I think that you realize you fucked up because subjectivity would be something
No.
which is dependent on a mind, and obviously the actual like the actual event of the sun setting over the horizon is not dependent on any mind, right? The sun
Yeah.
still set over the horizon even before like any minds or like, humans existed on Earth,
Dude.
right? And when I'm pointing that out to you to
Dude.
prove that it's objective, just follow me, man. When I'm pointing out that fact to prove that you're wrong, when you say that it's a subjective fact that the sun sets, right? You are now attempting to equivocate the actual event of the sun setting to like the experience of watching the sunset. And those two things are not the same.
Okay. Wait, dude. before I asked you that question, I said to you, I need to understand how you're using the definition, because I've seen people like you and not you, Parker, I'm sorry, has used the word objective truth as just a group of subjective experiences that are agreed upon. So, for example, he said,
like,
"No,
crowd
listen,
consensus
finish."
isn't like objectivity.
Wait. So, an objective truth is, I agree with your definition. When I asked you that question, I just wanted to make sure that you weren't adhering to the same logic as your friend Parker, who uses objective truth as a collection of subjective experiences as being a true objective truth. For example,
You didn't ask me a question. You made a statement.
oh, for fuck's sake! All right, man.
A question
Listen.
listen, man. A statement isn't a question. You made the statement that you think the sun setting is subjectively true.
Yeah, I asked if it was subjective, and then I said, if we all witness it, will that be something that's subjectively objective?
You said that
For
you
fuck's
think it's
sake.
subjective. Why are you muddying the waters with such utter nonsense?
I'm not muddying the waters. Also, Dean, to be very clear, we
are
were having a
muddying the
very
waters.
good dialogue, and we just completely derailed. And this is what you do, though. This is what you do.
I think that you derailed this conversation with all due
Oh,
respect.
you did, dude.
How
We
did
were
I-
having a good
how did I
dialogue.
derail the
and you
conversation?
derailed because you get scared, dude.
How
yes,
did I
in the
derail the
middle of us having a
conversation?
conversation in terms of moral worth, you somehow derailed and brought us onto the conversation of like a semantical debate in terms of like.
How did I
You started
derail?
asking me. Yes, I asked you the question of how can you actually do an equivalency of that hypothetical to a real life scenario with a woman. You then started talking about how the woman's well-being is at risk, which is a form of suffering. I then went to question you on that, and we got into a semantical debate
No. Now
on
you're
objective
confused.
and subjective.
Let me clear it up. So I said that there's a conflict of interest within the woman's well-being, which would like imply suffering. A suffering would be.
I
a
asked you to
state of
explain what that means, though.
And I did. I defined a conflict of interest within an individual's well-being as like a state of as an undesirable state of affairs, which would amount to suffering. Is I define suffering as an undesirable state of affairs, right? And that's when you chimed in, Ben, and then you said, "Well, I don't think that something that is desirable or undesirable is suffering, as you think that undesirable and desirable traits are subjective, and you think suffering is objective." Remember when you said that you think suffering is objective?
Bro, stop. Hold up. Wait.
No, I just want you to answer my question. Do you remember when you said that you think that suffering is objective?
Yes, but wait a minute. I'm asking. Do you?
No, because I'm still talking, Ben. I'll happily allow you to make whatever
He's
argument
muting
you
me?
want when I'm done. Yeah, because I'm not done. I'm running a dialogue tree here, my friend.
You're scared, bro. You're scared.
I think that you're scared of allowing me to finish
Stop
my
muting me,
dialogue
bro.
tree.
Stop muting me. Let me talk.
I will stop muting you if you could just
Hey.
engage with my dialogue tree and
You're
stop
violating
muddying
my
the
rights.
waters.
You're violating my rights, dude.
Okay, now somebody's crashing out. But anyways,
You're violating
so
my
I
rights,
just
bro.
asked you a
Let me
simple
speak.
question.
Free speech, dude. Free speech, bro.
I'll happily allow you to
me
say
talk.
whatever you want once I'm done running my dialogue tree.
Why are
So-
you shaking?
I'm
You
not
better hit the
shaking.
vape.
Okay.
Hit the vape.
Thank you. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and finish my dialogue tree now. So once again, right, we just clarified that you did indeed say that you think that suffering is objective. And then that's when we got onto a conversation about how you have like no real understanding of what subjectivity or objectivity even means. Because the statement suffering is objective in of itself is completely false. And I actually proved that to you, and I demonstrated not only to you but to everybody watching how you're just a raging hypocrite with no understanding of these basic philosophical questions, right? And I'll go ahead and reiterate exactly how I did that, because I asked you to define suffering, and then you define suffering as pain. I then asked you,
No,
if
that's not what I
pain
said.
is a subjective
Wait,
experience.
no.
Then how
Dude,
did you
no, I
define
didn't.
suffering?
Yes, thank you, bro. What do you? You're like not. What are you doing? This is being recorded. You're lying. I said that there is two aspects. There is the physical pain. And there's a physiological aspect to it. I said. So why are you lying?
Can you
dude? Why are you
redefine?
lying?
Can you redefine suffering for us?
Yeah, I said that suffering can be a state of physical or physiological, like not well-being. Or let's be
Physical-
clear.
Can you
No.
define physiological?
No. Listen, dude. Some of the semantical stuff.
I just
dude,
want to
what are you
understand
doing?
your definition. Define physiological.
What does that do for the conversation? I can define it for you. It doesn't do anything.
It does do one thing, a really important thing.
Yeah,
that being it gives me a
physiological-
better understanding of your position.
Yeah, physiological will just be like, relating to the branch of biology. It just deals with like functions of living organisms and their parts.
Okay, then what do you mean by physiological pain?
Physiological, I'm saying, is like it can be like it would be physical, and then listen, I meant to say physical, physiological, and then also
Wait,
psychological.
what's-
Psychological.
So what's the difference between physical pain and psychological pain? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, sure. Have you ever had anxiety?
Yeah, I've had anxiety before.
Great. How does anxiety differentiate from physical pain? Try to explain it in words, please.
I mean, wouldn't anxiety be like a state of a psychological state of affairs induced by like physiological
Yeah.
underpinning facts?
No, quite no. Listen, no. People have anxiety for just no reason at all.
Okay. Well, I mean, like still yet.
So
right, no
I'm
reason
asking you,
at
can you
all,
articulate?
Like, would it be an
can you
explanation?
articulate? You're asking me to explain the difference. I'm saying, can you articulate anxiety to me, please?
So my articulation of anxiety would be like a psychological state of affairs induced by some physiological underpinning set of facts.
Are they non-ideal states? Are they non-ideal?
Yes, anxiety is not ideal.
Okay, great. That's therefore suffering. It's a non-ideal mental state.
Anxiety would be an example of suffering, but could we agree that anxiety is a subjective experience?
I mean, yeah, sure, of course.
Okay, so then suffering is subjective.
That matter. Okay, cool. But what I'm saying is that for that.
Okay,
wait,
cool.
wait.
So you just conceded because you were arguing that
No.
suffering was objective, and now you just conceded and agreed with me that suffering is
Wait,
subjective.
when did I say suffering was objective? You're just saying things I didn't say.
You didn't
Wait, when
say
did I
that?
say that?
That was like your very first point when we started
Oh,
this
Dean,
conversation.
dude. Okay, are you gaslighting me, or did I actually say that? When did I
You
say
actually,
suffering was objective,
you actually said
dude?
that. Yeah, you actually
Okay,
said that.
I can't even talk to you because you're just like saying things now, dude. Dean, listen. This is my
What?
advice for you.
Ben, that was like your whole argument. Should we like roll back the clip?
Show me where I said that pain and suffering is an objective thing.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, for those over on YouTube, could you help me identify the timestamp of when he said that suffering is objective? Let's go ahead and start looking
I
for it.
remember, right? I asked you, can suffering
Ben,
be?
I'm going to accept an apology. I'm going to accept
Are you
an
gonna keep
apology.
muting me?
Yes, while I'm
If
looking
you-
for the clip. Yes, I won't be able.
I will leave if you keep muting me, but
I won't be able to listen to you talk while I'm looking for the clip on
That's
the YouTube
fine.
stream. So
I
that's
will
why I
leave
need
if
you
you
to stop
keep muting.
talking.
Biology. It just deals with like function too, though. This is what you
I
do.
think that you derailed this conversation.
Burning building. And now I have a compounding fact. Have to choose pain and choose me.
And see,
No,
human suffering on a
elaborate. I need you to elaborate.
Human
No,
suffering,
elaborate. Right now.
human suffering on a philosophical level.
Human suffering.
I am
Yeah,
elaborating.
so-
It's so insufferin to listen to your interruptions. God damn, you're annoying, Ben. Breaking
So-
it down. But
No,
you're
break it down too, buddy. Break it down for everybody here, please.
Ben, so you just told the chat that like I'm muting you because I'm getting cooked, right? But the reason why I've
are
muted you
muted.
and I'm about to mute you again, most likely, is because like you're interrupting me.
Go ahead, talk.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So I'll go ahead and elaborate a little bit more. So on a philosophical level, human suffering can be best understood as a conflict of theirs. Can be in this wanted state of.
All right, dude, I'm just
Now,
gonna
this
head
is
out,
a
bro.
necessary
I have to
No,
go-
don't
I have a
leave!
dinner
Don't
to-
leave, Ben! I'm proving you wrong. Don't run, you fucking runner! I'm about to
keep
prove
playing.
you wrong.
I have to go to-
Don't
I have to go to
run!
dinner.
No,
I didn't
don't
say
run,
that.
Ben.
I didn't
Don't
say
run,
that.
Ben.
Does
Don't. We're
I
about
have to go to dinner,
there.
though.
Don't run.
Keep playing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Wait, to be clear, show me where I said suffering desires and pain are is
subjective.
objective. Suffering has objective moral weight. Okay?
Oh! Oh! Get the fuck out of here. Go eat your goddamn dinner. Thank you so much. Thanks for playing the game, kid. Let's go to move on to that next guest. Go eat your goddamn dinner. We got Young MAGA loading up into the stream. Listen,
What's
folks.
up,
What's going on,
Dean?
man? Do you support Trump?
What's up, Dean?
Hey, what's up, Young MAGA? You support Trump?
Of course, it's in my name, Dean.
Perfect. Are you going to be just as insufferable as that last guest?
Well, I mean, I don't know. You tell me.
How old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
What year were you born in?
I was born in 2006,
Cool, man. What month?
November.
All right, you would be 18. Let me go to thank a handful of people here, just super duper quickly. I can't believe that conversation went on for an hour. Holy shit.
I know.
Wait, why are there still like some people in the chat saying Ben won? That's really confusing. Ben said that he never said that suffering was objective. I then played him a clip where he said exactly that, and he said that he had to run away and go to dinner. You guys are embarrassing yourself. Stop it. Real quick before we hop into our debate, Maeve, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo. Maeve says dealing well with the people that are too stupid to read the rules. Thank you for the love, Maeve. That came in earlier when we just had 16 minutes of straight rule breakers. As well as Aaron, thank you for the $10 as well. That is ERAN. Please show some love to Aaron down below in that chat. As well as Shannon, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo as well. Shannon says you deserve Cold Stone today for your patience with Ben. Dude, Ben was the first like debate of the day. I'm very patient at the beginning of the streams. Thank you for the $20, Shannon. Let's get 200 Shannon W's. As well as Brandon, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo. Brandon says, here's $20 for dealing with a pseudo-intellectual. Keep up the great work. Dude, Ben was the definition of a pseudo-intellectual. Dude didn't even know what subjective and objective meant. So embarrassing. Thank you, Brandon. As well as Lars, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo, saying that Ben is intolerable completely. And Jessica, thank you for the $5 on Venmo, saying this dude stresses me out. Yeah, he's insane. All right, anyways, take it away, man. Tell us why you support Trump Trump, and please show some love to all of our donors down below in that chat.
All right, so I support President Trump, and this is based off life stories. So when I was younger, me and my parents moved from California to Texas, correct, right? And our experience in Texas was pretty good until Joe Biden got elected. And when Joe Biden got elected, crime soared. We had illegal aliens coming to our country illegally on, a whole bunch of pills they're taking. They're hurting our.
I just wanted to mute you real quick, not to be an asshole. I just want to tell you, don't say the names of any D or UGS. I don't know. I just feel like your argument may be heading there, so I wanted to give you the heads up. That's TikTok terms of service. But go ahead and continue. I sent you an invite to unmute.
Oh, of course. I won't say that. So, and also egg prices. When Biden got elected, egg prices was out the roof. When you went to the store, wasn't eggs like $7 under Biden? I think so.
How did Biden cause the price of eggs to be higher?
So let me explain. So
Okay.
When Biden first got elected, 2021, the Inflation Reduction Act, right?
So the Inflation Reduction Act, it wasn't passed in 2021. It was passed in 2023, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay, so when Biden signed that into law, it didn't actually lower inflation, actually raise inflation.
Okay,
because
you can't attribute any inflationary value to the Inflation Reduction Act. So the Inflation Reduction Act, according to the Congressional Budget Office, which by the way is ran by partisan Republicans, is deficit reducing over the course of the next 10 years. How could a bill that is deficit reducing cause inflation?
All right, well, let me explain. Look, Biden is going after the rich. It's not the rich's fault that they're not paying their taxes. Rich people work 5 times as harder than the normal American. And Dean, you must know.
Wait, what does tax code have to do with the Inflation Reduction Act?
I'm saying that Biden ruined the inflation for the rich. And this is completely messed up. My parents are business owners, and we have to pay our fair share, which is unfair because...
So you didn't like taxes under Biden?
Of course not.
Would you ever vote for Biden and his tax policy again?
Oh, heck no. I would vote for a conservative.
Would you argue that Biden's tax policy was one of the worst tax policies we've seen in American history?
Well, I'm going to agree with you on this. Trump's tax policy was still under Biden's term.
Who leaked it? Who leaked it in the chat? No, you saw somebody in the chat say that. Then you started turning it around. No, literally like 25 seconds ago, you told us that you hated Biden's tax policy. And you never vote for Biden or his tax policy again. But yeah, the fact of the matter is, under the totality of the Biden-Harris administration, Donald Trump's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act were still in effect, meaning that you're actually calling Donald Trump's tax policy one of the worst tax policies in American history.
Hey, guess what? I have a question. Do you pay taxes, Dean? Because it doesn't seem like that. You're making thousands of dollars a day, and you're not paying your taxes. At this point, you should be a Republican, dude.
Whoa, okay.
Let me tell you why.
Okay, first, can I talk?
Well, can I say one more thing, and then you can talk?
Okay, whatever.
All right, look, Dean, you're making thousands of dollars from sitting on the chair. Do you know how hard...
Actually, could I correct you? It's actually tens of thousands, okay?
Well, tens of thousands.
It's actually millions every single day. I get $1 trillion deposited into my bank account every 24 hours by the DNC.
And guess what, Dean? My parents worked their butt off.
Yo, Miranda, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal for the non-taxable tip. Thank you for the love, Miranda. I'm definitely going to be committing tax evasion this coming fall. Thank you for the love, Miranda. As well as Lola, thank you so much for the $15 over on PayPal. And Olivia with the $3 Canadian. Holy shit, I cannot wait to evade my taxes. And I'm actually okay with saying that because it's a joke. And if anybody reports me, they're going to come up empty-handed because, yeah, I pay my taxes, obviously. As well as Mary, thank you so much for the $50 over on Venmo. Thank you so much, Mary. Mary with a $50 says, thank you for always speaking up. Appreciate you. Oh, dude, all the love in the world to you as well, Mary. $50 is a shit ton. Thank you so much. Please, Chad, show some love to Mary down below in that comment section for the big $50. Let's get 500 Mary W's. So, Young MAGA, should I pay taxes on the $50 that Mary just donated to me?
Look, I think you should. Look, you care so much about helping illegal aliens. How about you donate it to them? How about you donate to the criminals who are hurting Americans, huh? You want to talk about people who are getting hurt by illegal aliens? You think that's funny, dude? Huh? You think it's sad? Like, it's sad, dude.
Okay.
And you're just...
Somebody's losing it. Okay, well, let's go to talk about that now. So I say we call undocumented immigrants undocumented immigrants. Illegal alien It's really dehumanizing. I'm not a big fan of it. But anyways,
Okay, and
talking about undocumented immigrants. Undocumented immigrants don't hurt America. They actively help America. According to the American Immigration Council, they pay into the American GDP 1.1 trillion through 1.7 trillion dollars per year, while also paying over $100 billion per year in taxes. And did you know that your child, if you had one, would actually be safer with the average undocumented immigrant compared to Donald Trump?
well, look,
Do you disagree?
you think you're funny? No, of course I disagree. Look, Trump-
Wait. How? Explain to me how you think that your child, if you had one, would be safer with Donald Trump compared to the average undocumented immigrant,
Okay.
considering the fact that according to PNAS, undocumented immigrants are 2.5 times less likely to commit violent crimes than the average American citizen, three
Well-
times less likely to commit property crimes, and 3.5 times less likely to commit petty crimes. Meanwhile, Trump, on the other hand, is not just significantly more likely to commit crimes than the average American, but actually has, considering his 34-count felony conviction, the civil court that held him liable for rape, some of his incredibly crude
That's
and
not-
sexually
excuse
perverted
me,
comments on
excuse me.
Howard Stern's radio show when he was boasting about perving on the naked bodies of young women and teenage girls. Like, obviously, no, a child would be safer with the average undocumented immigrant compared to Donald Trump. Prove me wrong.
Look, Dean. Well, let me explain. First off, look, those court cases against President Trump was just political revenge. Look, Letitia James, she's a DEI hire. She was only in the spotlight was because of her race, simply because of her race. Look, President Trump works tirelessly every single day to make America great again. When he first found out about what happened to Epstein, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He banned him. So before you lie about my president, just know that if it wasn't for President Trump, we wouldn't be here right
Hey, just know, if it wasn't for like delusional 18-year-olds with no brain cells like you, Trump wouldn't have won in the first place. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate your delusion.
Oh,
First
so
and
now you're
foremost-
calling me dumb. So now you're calling me dumb, huh?
Little
You think
bit.
that's okay?
A little bit.
Okay, Dean.
But
You
listen,
call yourself.
Anyways, just listen to what I have to say here, my friend. So I gave you like a very like strictly compelling argument to demonstrate that like undocumented immigrants and the average undocumented immigrant are like a significantly better person, a safer person, and a more benevolent person from the commander-in-chief who you call the best president in American
Have you met
history.
Donald Trump
And then
to say
after
that?
giving you that I'm sorry, have you met all undocumented immigrants to stereotype them? Didn't think so. Shut the hell up. Now back to what I was saying, right? And then you completely ignored that argument and you turned around and just told us that Letitia James is a DEI hire. Okay, listen, I'll happily dispute your fake claims about Letitia James after you answer to my original argument demonstrating that undocumented immigrants are actually better for this country than Trump.
Okay. Well, let me answer that.
That's a good prompt. That's a really good
Okay.
prompt.
All right.
Undocumented immigrants are better for America than Trump.
No, of course not. And I highly disagree, and I'll tell you why. Look, Dean. The 2017 Trump tax cuts, right? We had immigrants coming in our country at high levels. Immigrants, they do work for the American people, which I do give. I do agree with them on that. They are hard workers. But the thing about it is that they come here and they can't speak our language. That's the thing I'm upset about, dude. And I don't think you understand. Like, dang, if they want to come to this country and build a family, they have to understand how the laws work. And thanks to, Kristi Noem and her great work as a Secretary of Homeland Security, we have accomplished that. We're a country of immigrants, and I will say that. But if you come to our country illegally and you break the rules, and I see a lot of websites that say immigrants commit less crimes. That's just liberal bias.
Hey, I have a question. So are you like a patriot?
Of course I'm a patriot. I love
Being a
my
patriot, does that mean that you're like pro the American Constitution?
I disagree with the Constitution a bit, but
What
a little bit.
about like very like traditional conservative values like free speech?
Yes.
So
I support.
you agree with free speech?
Of course I do.
So then why did you just try to tell me if somebody speaks differently than you do, then they shouldn't be allowed in the country? Isn't that like antithetical to like the core values of free speech?
Well, look, Dean. I know what you're trying to do.
Well, I'm trying to get an answer to my question from
Dean,
you.
No, look, Dean. That doesn't make sense. I know what you're trying to do, and it's not going to work with me, bro. Every single day, I've been depressed for months because of what's going on with our country. illegal immigrants coming to our country. I'm fine with immigrants. I love the immigrants. But Dean, you just don't understand.
So can you
That-
respond? Like, listen, man, I'm telling you, bro. Like every time, like I've like tried to give you an argument, you just don't respond.
All right, give me the argument.
Like,
Give me- I
listen,
like
I've
that.
given you like 2 arguments that I've wanted you to respond to that you haven't been able to. What was
All
your
right.
response to the argument that undocumented immigrants are safer in America than Donald Trump is for American safety?
Okay,
Like basically
so-
meaning that a child would be safer with the average undocumented immigrant compared to Donald Trump. And then
So,
what was your response to the argument that you arguing that individuals shouldn't be allowed into the country predicated on the language that they speak, being like in like blatant contradiction to the core American values that you claim to appraise, such as free speech?
All right, so let me answer that first prompt you gave me. So, reason why a child will be safe under Donald Trump than a legal immigrant is because guess what? They're illegal. You get the name? Illegal immigrant. It's in their name.
Okay, and what does that signify? Illegal? Does it like they
That
broke the law?
signify-
So
that's-
they're not safe for America because they broke the law. Donald Trump broke the law 34 times.
No,
What does
he
that tell us
didn't.
about him?
No, he didn't. It was just a political advantage. Stop lying,
So,
dude.
so you don't believe the federal court that found him guilty of 34 felonies?
Of course, it was just a hoax. Of course not.
Lily,
it
think
was
of
a
the galaxy. Okay, here's my question. What were the felonies for? What are you calling a hoax?
Okay, the 34 felony charges. You want to know? You want to know why you got the 34 felony charges?
I'm asking you, before we even move on to that, I'm just seriously asking you what they were for.
So first, election interference, which was also.
No,
What are you talking about, dude?
no. The 34 felonies were for the falsification of business records in the first
Okay.
degree. So how are you going to sit here and tell me that you know that the criminal court that found him guilty of 34 felonies was definitely wrong and it was just a complete hoax? Meanwhile, you don't even know what the felonies were for. This is like me saying that I know you're dressed like absolute shit right now and you look terrible, even though I have no clue what you're wearing. Or me saying that all the food inside of your refrigerator is definitely spoiled, even though I don't know you, I don't know where you live, and I've never seen the inside of your refrigerator, right? You're saying that the court that found him guilty of these felonies was wrong, a hoax,
Right.
political warfare, so on and so forth. Meanwhile, you don't even know what the felonies were for, so how could you possibly know that he wasn't guilty of them?
Okay, well, let me explain. So, when Trump was first convicted, when they, raided his Mar-a-Lago home,
Mar-a-Lago home had nothing to do with this criminal conviction.
Okay.
You're talking about a separate civil case that was held in Florida. You're now
All right, let me-
confusing the litigation against him.
Dean, look, can I just talk, please? Like, just let me talk, man. You're just getting on my nerves. Like, I'm tired of you sissy liberals ruining my country. Anyways, Dean, what I was gonna say is that, look, Biden and lying Kamala Harris went to the DOJ. They told the DOJ, hey, look, we'll give you some money from the Russia hoax. They got millions of dollars from Russia. Biden got a whole bunch of money from Russia, Big Pharma, all those big companies. And you know what Biden did? He said, look, I'll give you guys what? Wasn't it like $5 million he gave for the DOJ to prosecute President Trump? I'm sure I got to go check again. But Biden gave about $5 million and they prosecuted President Trump. And then when President Trump was elected, he directed one of the best attorney generals, Pam Bondi, to investigate the case. And they found out that Biden spent around $5 million from big oil companies in Russia and a whole bunch of other money. And you want to know why?
I have a question.
What?
Are you like a fiction author? Do you write?
No, I listen to Fox News, but that's it.
Okay, are you sure that you're 18? Because you seriously have the imagination of a 12-year-old, right? Because
I'm
everything that you just said was completely made up.
I'm
Like
18 years-
literally, you just gave
Look.
us and I'm gonna say
Look,
this. and
okay,
I'm
I'll
being
give you my
serious,
sword.
A
I'll give you my
literal
sword.
like
I'll give-
fiction story.
I'll give you my
Everything
sword.
that you just
I'll
said
give-
there about like Biden getting money from Russia and big pharma companies and then taking $5 million and giving it to the DOJ to prosecute Trump. Completely fictitious.
I'll give you my
Completely
source.
fictitious.
Can I give you my source?
Absolutely, please.
Okay,
do.
so now the money scandal, the $5 million was from Older Millennial. I'm sure you know him about one
Older
of the
millennial.
One of
Older
the-
millennial is the least reliable quote unquote journalist on the face of planet Earth.
You hate him because you're not as great as him. You're a
Dude,
hater. You're not as great at him.
No, older millennial is like a literal propagandist.
Dude,
Oh, I'm peeing. Did you know that like older millennial literally said that he wanted to grape me?
that's fake news. Stop
No,
with this, man.
no, older millennial literally said that he wanted to grape me.
Show me proof then. Show me proof.
Let's see if I can find it. This was a while ago. I bet I still have it in like my privated videos on TikTok. I'm not even kidding. OM
right.
literally said that he wanted to grape me.
All right, well, show me the proof, and if
I think
you're
this is
right.
it.
Parker and Dean in it. Here's a clip of 40-year-old older millennials saying that if he was attracted to men, I, a 19-year-old straight man, would be his target.
But I'm gonna be real. If I was gay, Dean would be a target. That man is pretty as hell.
Here's him saying he wants to unalive everyone with mental disability.
Yeah, so I guess we've kind of reached an end point
I'm
here.
perfectly fine with throwing mentally disabled people off a mountain.
Here's him saying that colonization is great.
Elaborate on why colonization is so great. Because everywhere that's been colonized.
It's lagging. Okay, I guess we'll just cut it there because the rest of the video isn't loading. But yeah, anyway, so that's your reliable news source?
Look, okay, I did hear that recording, and if he actually, maybe you know how AI is advancing right now. If that was true and that wasn't AI, then of course I would not condone that. But, you know, look.
Do you think that's AI? Do you like want to see him say some of those things?
No.
No, I'll like literally show you. Like, dude, he even like posted like a video on TikTok, like apologizing, and then he took it down like 3 hours later. Like, this is like real. Like, there's like 6,000 people that watch this on live.
Dude, you're just.
Like, is there any like long time like fans in here that like literally saw that happen like on live?
Well, I've talked to older millennial before, and he's told me a whole bunch of things that you've done. And let's not get into that.
No. Please tell me all of the fake things that even OM has said about me. No, like for instance, so if anybody remembers when we had that absolutely like insane, right, like husband and wife come up onto the stream and literally argue that the child sex exploitation is a business transaction that benefits the kids, right? And that it's not wrong. And then even saying that like CP is not child sex exploitation. So I made like a full 5.5 minute video breaking that all down. Older millennial fucking took the first 5 seconds where I said that people on the right are accusing me of being a perv because I don't know, people were for whatever fucking reason. It was strange. And then he said, oh yeah, Dean, you are a perv. You were trying to argue that like kids can consent and this innocent man and woman were just arguing that they can't consent, even though he knew that that narrative was completely fictitious and wrong because of the 5-minute video that I made about it, right? Giving evidence and playing the clips of this couple saying otherwise. No, he's just purely a propagandist. Older millennial, right, isn't serious. He's not actually a journalist, and nobody should take him with an ounce of credibility.
Well, look, Dean. I'll believe you when I see it for myself, Dean.
You just heard it for yourself, little kid.
Bro, look, Dean. I really don't. Look.
Wait, I have a question. Did you see Biden give $5 million to the DOJ?
I seen court documents of it.
What court documents would there be to prove that Biden gave $5 million to the DOJ? Not to mention, you saw court documents of Donald Trump being held liable for grape and Donald Trump being found guilty of 34 felonies and you didn't believe it. But I have a question. What court documents can you show to me to prove that Biden gave $5 million to the DOJ to prosecute Trump?
Well, okay. Well, about the grape thing about Trump being found liable, I want to say this.
No, I want you to answer my question. What court documents can you give to me and
go on the official White House website.
The official White House website doesn't have court documents on it.
Well, okay, it was something that. Look, Dean, I watched Fox
earlier.
News.
Now I'm really confused because you told me that you actually like heard that like Biden gave $5 million to the DOJ from like older millennial, and now you're saying that you heard that from court documents on the White House's website. And then I'm like, the White House website doesn't have court documents on it. Now you're saying, well, look, Dean, I watched Fox News. So which one is it? Did Fox News tell you this? Did court documents on the White House website tell you this? Or did older millennial tell you this? Which one is it?
Older millennial told me.
Okay, but why won't you believe it until you see it?
Bro.
Oh.
I don't know. You could have used AI, so.
Okay,
You know?
I'm going to kick you and move on to the next guest because that guy's just not serious. Go ahead and hop in that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Trump as president. What is going on? Okay, yo, Annie, thank you for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat. Annie with the $20 says, look at his repost, he's a troll. Okay, well, I mean, we just kicked him. I mean, I would believe it that he was a troll. He was just like seriously so insane. Let's go and get that next Trump supporter loaded up in here right now. What is going on today? Why are all the guests like so insane? Like, I'm like an hour and 15 minutes into the stream and like, I'm tired. What's up? Do you support Trump? Hello, Dallas?
Yes.
You do? Awesome. Let me go and thank a couple people, then we'll hop into the debate. Oscar, thank you so much for the $11 and the 11 cents over on Venmo. Appreciate you for that love, Oscar. Let's get 100 Oscar W's and 200 Annie W's for the $20 on Super Chat. As well as Rachel, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo too. Rachel with the 20 big one says, the MAGA fatigue is real. They love Fox News and the older millennial. But anyways, have a good live and amazing day, Dean. And keep educating the adult children of the world. Thank you, Rachel. It's so good to see you. Thank you for the $20 donation. Show some love to Rachel in that chat. As well as let's show some love to Peyton for the $20 over on PayPal. Let's get some massive Peyton W's. Peyton says, very random question, but do you like Conan Gray? I think that's a music artist. I've never listened to any of their shit if he is a music artist, which I'm not sure about. But I've heard the name before. Not familiar with him. As well as Alexandria, thank you for the $5 over on PayPal. Leon with a 5, Kayla with a 3, Kayla with a 7, and Madison with a 5 over on PayPal. Thank you guys so much for the love. If you're watching and you want to support me, you can find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio on TikTok and in that pinned message over on the YouTube stream. Go ahead and take it away. Why the hell do you support the worst president of your life, Mr. Donald J. Trump?
Shit, honestly, he's a great president. Let me ask you this: why don't you support him?
Sure, I have many reasons why I don't support Donald Trump as president. Would you like to hear my reasons condensed to a paragraph, condensed to a 4-paragraph essay, or the full doctoral thesis outlining most of them?
The full doctoral thesis.
Doctoral thesis. Are you sure?
I want to hear it all. Give it all.
I'm not sure I really like that. So that'll
Yes.
take 15 minutes. Like, we've done this before. Unlike the last two times I did this.
That's one of your options. Why can't you?
The last 2 times I did this, it literally took 11 minutes and 12 minutes. Right? And like both of those times, like I forgot some stuff. So I think if I were to like really try to outline like every reason why I don't support Trump, it'd probably be closer to like 15 minutes. How about this? Let's just like let's just aim
it's
for
all right. Go ahead.
Let's just
Go
aim.
ahead
Let's
and
just aim.
forget the stuff.
Let's just aim for like a couple minutes, okay? Just like 1 or 2. We'll be short and sweet. So, like my support against Trump, right, reduces down to 3 categories. It reduces down to character, domestic activity, including domestic policy, and then foreign policy. So we'll start off with character, then we'll move on to the other 2 categories. The big hits on his character are, first, he's an adjudicated rapist.
Okay.
He raped a woman, and the court proved it in 2023. A second thing that he did was he went on Howard Stern's radio show in 2005 and boasted about sexually exploiting the naked bodies of teens and of women in their changing rooms at Miss Teen USA and Miss USA. He was also recorded in 2012 saying that it's not grape if a woman teacher grapes like a little boy in school because the little boy probably likes it, right? He's also sexualized his own daughter, saying that he'd date her if she wasn't his daughter, and then agreeing with Howard Stern when he called her a piece of ass, even arguing that he would also date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years, obviously implying that he was sexualizing this little girl, not to mention that he was literally best buddies with one of the most notorious human sex trafficker billionaires in human history, that being Epstein. And I mean, he was also caught sending letters to Epstein depicting the naked body of a girl with a statement, "May every new day be a wonderful secret." And now apparently, according to Thomas Massie, a Republican on the Hill in DC, right, there are many Republicans that are getting ready to drop their support for Trump once the Epstein files released because they don't want to be labeled as a pedo protector. What is that telling us? Holy shit, that's crazy. And that's coming from a Republican. Okay, we also have like the racist comments that he's made. In 1990, he said that all black people are lazy. And then when questioned about that sentiment in 1997, he affirmed that's how he felt. Not to mention in 1972, he refused to rent to black individuals, which led to the New York State Justice Department literally suing him for a violation of the Civil Rights Act. Okay, we also had him calling for the death penalty for 5 innocent young black and Latino men, the Central Park 5, even after he learned that they were exonerated. That's insane. Not to mention the birther myth of Barack Obama, where he literally tried to convince people that Obama was born in Africa, even though he had a birth certificate from Hawaii. Why? Because Obama's black, obviously. And in arguing that he was born in Africa, he was in turn arguing that people shouldn't vote for him, since in order to be eligible for the position of the presidency, you have to be born in America. So he's trying to limit the job opportunity of a black man because he's black, which is evidently anti-black racism. Misogyny, right, including the things that we've already touched on, like the grape case, like the hitting on girls, being best friends with Epstein. He said that the best thing that could ever happen to a woman is pregnancy. He said that he could just walk up to women and grab them by the P word without even asking first. Oh my God, the list goes on and on and on and on, right, man? So we'll stop there for character. We're going to go to move on to domestic activities and policy, right? I think that he is the largest threat to the American Constitution.
I got a question.
Sure, I wasn't done, but go ahead.
What's your sources for that, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, so my source that he's a rapist would be Trump v. E. Jean Carroll. You could find the court documents online, including the jury verdict form. My source that he sexualized a 10-year-old girl comes from a clip of him walking up an escalator in 1992. If you want to find that one on YouTube, you just look up Trump escalator 1992 sexualizing little girl. My source for the claim that he sexually exploited teens and women at Miss Teen USA and Miss USA would be coming from a sit-down interview that he did with Howard Stern August 21st, 2005. You could find that on YouTube by looking up Donald Trump Howard Stern, Miss Teen USA. You'll find a clip posted by CNN YouTube's channel 8 years ago, just literally replaying the conversation for you. Another one of my claims here was, that he called all black people lazy in the 90s. So if you go on Google and you type in all the times Trump has never been racist, Hugh Jackman, it's going to give you an article from The Hill, I believe, that goes over that instance alongside others. My source that he wouldn't rent to black tenants comes from similar sources. I mean, you could either find the official court documents where he agreed to work with the New York State Justice Department and put ads in newspapers saying that he's finally now renting to black individuals. You could just find that up by looking up Trump 1973 not renting to black tenants. That's obviously a source. What are other things that I said? Oh, best buddies with Epstein. I mean, that source comes from him and Epstein. Just, I feel like that's common sense. That's a commonly understood fact. But my source that he sent Epstein a letter depicting the body of a naked woman with the statement, "May every new day be another wonderful secret," is actually coming from a Congress House subcommittee a month ago that released the official document. You could see it from yourself as reported on by the Washington Post. Just look up the Washington Post Trump letter to Epstein. Is there anything else that I'm missing here?
No, you're okay. Keep going. About your other
About
3 points.
sources for the other claims, sure, like the Obama birther myth. So, I mean, if you just look up Trump Obama birther myth, I mean, there's multiple websites that give you a timeline of Donald Trump's public tweets. Oh, like with my other reasons why I don't like Trump?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. So moving on
Sorry,
to
my shit's all laggy right now.
Moving on to domestic activities and behavior, I think that he poses one of the largest threats to the American Constitution in American history. In the last 8 months, he's violated the First Amendment. He's called for termination of the Second. He's violated the 14th Amendment, and he said he wants to violate the 22nd Amendment. Violations of the First Amendment include him saying that it's illegal to protest or boycott. They also include him trying to ban burning of the American flag, which SCOTUS ruled is protected under free speech in the 80s. I mean, he literally said that we're taking your free speech away. They also include him calling news and media organizations such as CNN and MSNBC literally illegal, and it would also include him in Air Force One 3 weeks ago saying that it's literally illegal to criticize him in the media per his own opinion. The violations of the Second Amendment would include the bump stock ban that he passed during his first term that ultimately the Supreme Court overturned and ruled as unconstitutional, and his directive to the DOJ today to attempt to find a way to ban gun ownership for trans Americans, which even the far-right NRA came out and said was unconstitutional. His violation of the 14th Amendment includes an executive order he signed in day one in office, which was EO number 14160, that attempted to ban birthright citizenship for the children of undocumented immigrants born on American soil, even though SCOTUS literally ruled in 1897 that they have it, and this has been case law set forth via the ratification of the amendment in 1865, not to mention the explicit text of the 14th Amendment clearly states that obviously they would have it, as it just says that all persons born in the country are citizens. Obviously, the children born to undocumented immigrants are people, therefore they'd be citizens per the Constitution. And then, his call for the termination of the 22nd Amendment is pretty self-evident. The 22nd Amendment just says the president can't serve more than 2 terms. He says that he wants to serve a third. So, but maybe we stop there. I feel like I'm going to be overloading you with information if I keep on going.
No, you're all good.
No, I'm not. I don't think that any human brain has the capacity to reflect on everything I just said. It's just impossible. So we'll stop there. You could take it in bite-sized chunks. Do you want to respond to any of like the very compelling reasons I gave you why he's a bad president?
I mean, honestly, you're putting really good points out.
Okay. So
I can't really do anything. What you're gonna do is you're gonna turn around and be like, "No, that's not it,"
Okay. So I
and
mean,
give me a bunch of other facts.
yeah.
So
I maybe just gave you like 15.
I honestly think he's a great president.
Yeah, but I just gave you like 15 to 20 like clear reasons why he's a terrible president, and I could even like keep on going. I could probably give you another 60, right? Could you give me 3 reasons why he's a good president?
Shit. I mean,
1. We'll start there.
I
1.
would say getting the undocumented immigrants out of here. Increasing pay for military and being there for the military.
Okay, so mass deportation and increase of pay for the military. Right now, the military isn't being paid because of his government shutdown, so that's kind of ironic. And then the mass deportation doesn't help this country; it only hurts it. Can you name one clear
But that's
way that
not
mass
his fault.
deportation
That's
makes this
the
country
House
better?
and Senate's fault.
Yeah, and the people that hold a majority in the House and the Senate is MAGA.
I mean, I
Republicans.
understand they have a lot of jobs. I understand a lot of illegal immigrants have jobs and all this stuff here, pay taxes and all that stuff, but we shouldn't have to rely on other people that don't have documentations to become full American citizens to do our jobs for us instead of being lazy pieces of shits.
Okay, well, I mean, I think the conclusion of your argument there is that Americans are lazy, apparently, but that's not like the answer. Sorry, that's not an answer to the question that I asked. So the question that I asked you is, what is one way that mass deportation will materially make this country better?
Make U.S. citizens actually work for what they need versus trying to make the richer rich and the poor poor.
So you think that it'll reduce income inequity to do mass deportation? No, we'd be absolutely fucking over like the working class completely, 110%, because there'd be just a significant reduction in like opportunity for work. I mean, what else do you think happens when we remove 8.3 million of our laborers and 11 million of our consumers? Our producers get significantly less productive because now they're making less goods and selling less goods. GDP falls, government revenue falls, and the working class becomes fucked over.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, honestly, thank you for the debate. Thank you for the education.
Yeah, man, you take care. I got a question. What state are you in? Is it Colorado, California?
I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable putting that stuff out in the
How about this?
internet like that.
I'm just going to give you like a handful.
It's my personal life.
Just tell me, do you live in either Colorado, California, Oregon, North Carolina? Wait, 1 second. States. One second. Give me a second. Do you live in either Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Missouri, Montana, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Ohio, or Oregon?
I already told you I wasn't comfortable answering that.
Okay, but
So
but those are
I'm not gonna
those are only 20,
tell you
those are only 24
if
states.
I was or if I
those
wasn't.
are 24 states. So like that's half of the country. Obviously, if you tell me that you live in one of those, it's like it doesn't tell us much. So do you live in like one of the 24 states that I just listed off?
I'm good. I don't want to put that information out there on the internet.
Okay, bro. Get out of here. Dude, you're not okay with telling us if you live in half of America? Come on, dude. All right, we're gonna move on to the next guest. By the way, the states that I was naming off there, those are all the states where the use of the MDRUG is legal. Let's go to move on to the next guest. We got that next guest loaded in right now, guys. Make sure if you are in that queue that you are an American adult that is pro-Trump, y'all. I'd also like to thank, holy shit, yo, Declan. Thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal. Declan says, can you please exactly explain what Trump is doing in Chicago? And what ICE is doing? Also, fuck Trump. Thank you for the $20, Declan. Let's get 200 Declan W's down below in that chat. Seriously, thank you so much for the love, man. I mean, I think that somebody who's there would be able to explain it better than I am. But I mean, he's militarizing the National Guard and sending ICE in with like military equipment to arrest undocumented immigrants, legal immigrants, and probably some citizens too, while also attempting to quell peaceful protests. What's up, Trey? Do you support Trump?
I do. First off, I want to start with a little bit of common ground. I really appreciated your reaction to Charlie Kirk, thinking it's abhorrent, the behavior of a lot of people. Well, I mean, those are your words. So, you know, I just thought that was nice of you, because I think a lot of people reacted pretty, you know, very vilely to that. So, in terms of like what I want to talk about, I don't know. I think
like a vile.
Yeah.
What do you say? Like a vile reaction would be like, I don't know, like taking like the picture of like the guy that shot him, putting him on merch, then selling it.
No, I just mean like people just
no. Like listen,
condoning.
No, like literally.
Yeah.
I just have a question. Would you say that like a bad, like deplorable reaction to Kirk's assassination would be like a lot of liberals, like maybe like taking a picture of like Tyler or whatever his shooter's name was, glamifying him and then putting him on like a t-shirt, then turning around and selling it?
Yeah, I would say that's messed up. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's exactly what MAGA did with like Alligator Alcatraz, who, as we know, was littered with human rights violation, was literally illegal, and was shut down by a federal judge.
I'm not here to
was denying inmates like clean water to bathe for days, was serving them like one meal a day, some of those meals having maggots in them. And the same thing kind of goes just for the deportation operation as a whole, including the illegal deportation and removal of people like Abrigo Garcia, who's then sent to CECOT in El Salvador to literally be tortured and beat, or like detaining legal immigrants like Mahmoud Khalil for 3 months in ICE detention centers, or the 510 confirmed instances of human rights abuse, including but not limited to ICE literally last week dragging naked children out of their homes in the suburbs of Chicago and throwing them in the backs of buses. So, I mean, are you going to hold that same energy towards like those on the right that are actively celebrating, right, ICE, Alligator Alcatraz, these ICE detention facilities, and the mass deportation?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not here to debate anything. Here's the thing: if somebody on the left, if something, you know, bad happened to one of you for.
Well, I just want to clarify here. You do actively condemn those like celebrating the mass deportation.
Absolutely.
Donald Trump is actively celebrating.
Idiots on the left. I think there's idiots on the right.
Well,
and I think earlier
Donald Trump and his administration is actively celebrating the mass deportation in ICE. Just go.
So I didn't want to talk about
Trump and his administration.
Dean, you got to let me talk for a second here. So first off, if something, God forbid, happened to you or AOC or anybody on the left, I don't think the reaction would be nearly as grotesque as the reaction the left had when Charlie Kirk died.
George Floyd.
I think we both can agree on that.
George Floyd.
I think
Floyd.
a lot of the left is out for blood.
George Floyd. Dude, even look at like what Charlie Kirk's own reaction was when somebody broke into Nancy Pelosi's house, was trying to find her to kidnap her, couldn't find her, so then almost killed her husband by bashing his skull in with a hammer. Even Charlie Kirk himself went on air the very next day and said whoever did it was a patriot, and some patriot should go bail him out of jail.
Okay. You know what?
Charlie
and that's fair.
Kirk said that.
That's fair. I think if something, for instance, happened to you, Dean, I would absolutely think that's abhorrent. Okay. And I think a lot of people that would not celebrate.
You're not responding to anything that I'm saying here. You didn't respond to the deportation. You didn't respond to the fact that how the Trump administration and Trump is like actively like propping up and celebrating the human rights violations on behest of ICE, the mass deportation, Alligator Alcatraz. You didn't respond to the fact that even like Charlie Kirk literally celebrated the attempted murder of Nancy Pelosi's husband.
Are you muting my mic? I am trying to talk.
You didn't respond to the fact, I would bring up, he also called for the public execution of Biden. Biden, right? It's like you're not responding to any of the things.
Did
that I'm
he?
saying.
How?
Why are you not
okay,
responding
give
to
me
any of
give me
things
the
that I'm saying?
verbatim what he said in terms of public execution of Biden.
Yeah, he said that Biden's guilty of treason and he should be publicly executed.
Shitty. I think there's people on the right that are shitty in terms of if something happened to one of us. Yes, people are going to be shitty about it. I'm not here to debate that. Now, in terms of, you were talking earlier about, okay, first off, okay, your whole, how can you justify Obama doing it? I'm assuming you would.
Obama did it in the same way?
Using ICE.
Wait, so when did the Supreme Court under Obama's administration rule that he was illegally deporting people to a terrorist prison in El Salvador? When did we see Obama illegally militarizing?
That's where everybody's going. They're going to a terrorist prison in El Salvador.
Dude, oh my God, why are you interrupting me?
I apologize.
Allow me to finish speaking. When did SCOTUS rule under Obama's administration that he's illegally deporting undocumented immigrants to El Salvador? When did we have federal judges rule under Obama's administration that the Obama admin could be held in contempt of court for mass deportation without due process? When did we?
Dean, let me. Yep.
One
Sorry.
more, and you're gone. When did we hear about under Obama's administration, that he was illegally violating the 10th Amendment and militarizing the National Guard from various states to declare war on American cities, saying that the real enemy is the enemy from within? We didn't see that. Listen, the differences between the deportation under Obama and under Trump today is point number one, Obama focused on the only deporting undocumented immigrants with prior violent criminal offenses or pretty insane non-violent criminal offenses. That was his focus, okay? Right? And my proof of this isn't just the fact that he said it, but it's also the fact that he started the Dreamers program. So for young undocumented immigrants under a certain age, they could become citizens. He started DACA, so undocumented immigrants of working age could actually go to work. Okay? And by the way, the Trump administration opposes the shit out of that today. One of Donald Trump's federal judges in Texas is actively trying to overturn DACA to better enable the Trump administration to do a deportation of every single undocumented immigrant in this country.
In terms of, attacking people within the states and stuff like that, a lot of people are attacking ICE, right? So that's more of a recant.
No, ICE is attacking people. Okay, I want to make that one clear. Right, for the most part, sure, you could identify a couple circumstances of people legitimately attacking ICE, but for the most part, it's ICE attacking the people. Have you seen the clip of an ICE agent just randomly spraying fucking tear gas into the frog suit of some random protester that was just chilling in Portland? Or have you seen the other clip of an ICE agent literally shooting a beanbag at the head of a goddamn Christian preacher?
Let me ask you something, Dean. Have you ever been out of the country?
Yeah, I've been out of America.
Okay. I haven't even seen the ocean. But I digress. If you've been out of the country, if you say you went to Japan, can you just stay there?
Can I just stay in Japan? Probably not. I don't know.
What would they do if you?
I don't know
just
Japan's
decided
laws.
to just you're gonna stay there.
I study domestic immigration policy. I don't study international domestic policy. International.
Okay. Well, but people come here internationally. If somebody from Japan came here, or
absolutely have to stop interrupting me. This is your very last warning. Why do you keep doing that? It's actually getting insane.
I'm debating you, Dean.
Why every time you start speaking, it is when I'm in the middle of one of my sentences? It's actually you have to be doing it purposefully. It's every time I speak.
Oh, I'm not doing it on accident, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, Dean. I'm having a debate with you. I'm enjoying this.
Just stop interrupting, and I'll enjoy it too. It's dude, it's super simple. Now, anyway.
Also, the defend pedo comments are insane to me. By the way, sidebar.
Yeah, well, sidebar. We could talk about that later, but let me go ahead and respond to you without an interruption. Okay.
Sure.
So you try to make an argument there. You try to say, well, if we gave due process to every undocumented immigrant that we're deporting, it would just simply take too long. Guess what? That actually justifies undocumented entry. Why might you say that? Well, it's because, if every single undocumented immigrant were instead to try to get into the country using the proper legal means, it would simply take too long. For the average immigrant coming into America from Mexico without any family already inside of the country, it could take them 12 to 15 years to become a citizen. That's way too long, way too inefficient. Therefore, from my perspective and now yours, they are entirely justified in breaking the law for more efficient entry into this country.
I will agree with that. That it does take. My best friend is Mexican American, and a lot of his family deal with that, and I completely agree with that.
Okay, awesome. So you do. So if it's okay for Trump to break the law for like means of like efficiency, why is it not okay for undocumented immigrants to break the law for means of efficiency?
I think we allow it because in America it's the standard, right? But anywhere else you can't get away with this, Dean.
You're not.
And I
answering
think
my
Trump finally put his.
Sir, could you please
Yeah.
repeat the question that I asked you? You're just belligerently not answering it. Sorry, belligerently not answering it. Repeat the question that I asked you.
You said that if Trump can break the law, why can't other people break the law? Just to basically.
Right, because you told me that you're okay with like with our current presidential administration violating the constitutional rights of undocumented immigrants to deport them faster. So therefore, why aren't you okay with undocumented immigrants violating federal law code 8 USC 135, I think, and committing a federal misdemeanor in order to get into America faster?
So two wrongs, we can make a right out of that, is what you're saying.
Oh, well, now you're arguing that it's wrong for Donald Trump to violate the Constitution and deportation of undocumented immigrants. No, interruption.
I think
Shut the fuck up. Now you're arguing that it's wrong for Trump to violate the Constitution in his deportation of undocumented immigrants. Literally 5 minutes ago, you told me that you think it is completely permissible for Trump to violate the Constitution, violate undocumented immigrants' right to due process, and deport them because it's faster. Oh, so I'm now getting you to concede on the fact that that's wrong? I just want to clarify. Because the next part of the argument is really easy. Because if you realize and recognize and agree that it's wrong for Trump to deport people without due process, that just means it's something we shouldn't be doing. We shouldn't do wrong things.
I believe that if I was in another country and they deported me, they're not going to put me through some court hearing. They're just going to get rid of me.
What country?
Any country, Dean. Like this doesn't happen anywhere except America.
Wait, so you think that America is the only country?
We live in a very interesting place where with Mexico below us.
Wait 1 second. You think that America is the only country with a right to due process?
No, that is no. You're putting words in my mouth, Dean.
Yeah, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I just asked you like what countries would like remove you without any official hearing or proceedings whatsoever, and then you said any country, Dean. Okay, well that just means that you think that every other country on earth doesn't have a legal right to due process. Not to mention that even if every other country on earth didn't have a legal right to due process, point number one, that wouldn't change the fact that we do. So when Donald Trump removes individuals without due process, he's violating the Constitution. And point number two, that wouldn't change the fact that we should. Okay? Just because everybody else is doing something doesn't mean we should do it too. And in fact, this is like a very core American value. Right? When we declared independence, what was Britain doing? What was Europe doing? They had the kingships, they had the queenships, they had the monarchs, and they had the ruling class, okay? And we thought to ourselves, well, all these other countries are operating in the manner in which we think is not best fit for the people, so now we are going to hop on these boats, and we're going to declare independence. Like, we literally fought a goddamn war to rid ourselves of a kingship, even though that was what was popular in all other countries, right? Not to mention that, do you think we should have universal health care in America? Because, well, guess what? Every other developed country on the face of planet Earth has it.
I wish we did. I do wish we did, Dean. Can I ask you a question? What is your definition of due process in terms of the context of getting rid of somebody from your country, said country, whatever country that may be? Okay. This country in particular.
Okay, so you said that we should have universal health care. Well, I don't understand why you support Trump, considering the fact he could...
Listen, that's a whole other bag of worms.
Okay, I'm not going to hop into the debate. Just let me finish. Dude, you are so fucking annoying.
Dude.
You heard me. I'm standing on business. I mean what I said. You are so fucking annoying because you are interrupting me every time I open my mouth. Oh my God. Like,
you got more words than I do.
I'm a patient guy. I swear to God, I'm a patient guy. I could deal with the first 15 interruptions, but now we're like getting into like the dangerous territory of the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, and it's really starting to weigh on me.
I'm trying over here, man. I am. I'm sorry, Dean. I apologize, man. Go off.
Can you try harder?
I can try a little bit harder.
Thank you so much. So once again, point number one, you said that you do think we should have universal health care in America. Well, obviously that would imply you wouldn't support Trump, considering the fact that per the big beautiful bill, he took health care away from 10 million low-income Americans. Just another contradiction. Point number two, you asked me.
I don't support everything he does. I'm not interrupting you, Dean. I don't support every single thing he does.
Okay,
Point number two, I apologize.
You asked me what due process is, right?
Yes.
So I just appealed to whatever like SCOTUS defines it is or is not.
Sure.
Do you want me to give you like a legal definition of what it is?
I would like what you would.
Yeah, it's just fair
Yeah.
treatment through the normal judicial system.
Sure. And in terms of how we are dealing with this and how you disagree we're dealing with this,
not
what's
how-
your point of view on it?
It's not that I disagree. It's that SCOTUS disagrees. Okay, right? It's that federal judges disagree. It's that we've had courts in this country rule that the Trump administration has been illegally deporting undocumented immigrants, including the Supreme Court's ruling on April 10th this year, where they unanimously, all 9 of them, including the 6 conservative judges, concluded that the Trump administration had illegally deported Abrigo Garcia.
Is that the person? Am I getting this wrong? Is that the guy that a lot of people said was a gang member?
Yeah, guess what? Even if he was a gang member, he would still have constitutional rights. But so far, there's been no court that has determined he is.
Right. So, okay. Let me ask you this, Dean. So, due process. You're in another country. You overstay.
Why are we
They
continuing?
get rid of you.
Why do we keep talking
I'm
about
just
other
curious.
countries?
How
Does
do you
the law
think
of other
you should
countries
be-
inform what the law of our country is?
Well, I'm okay. In a perfect world, how do you think they should be rid of you?
Oh my God.
And what is the process?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in a perfect world, I disagree with mass deportation, so it wouldn't exist.
See, in our country, mass deportation, I feel like, is something that is needed because we're the only country that allowed this for so long. Your administration allowed this.
I disagree.
Right?
So what did they do to allow it?
I mean, it just lacks security.
Okay. Do you think that Donald Trump had lax security under his first term?
I wouldn't say so, and I would say it's even more affirmed now.
Okay. So you would say that the Biden-Harris administration changed something with their immigration policy to make it more lax. What did they change?
I wouldn't be able to tell you. Like I said, Dean, you're more well-versed in these things, but they definitely did if you look at the numbers.
Okay. Well, no, you can't just identify like the fact that there's more undocumented entry into America.
I can look at statistics and say that that's what happened.
No, you actually can't. I could explain to you why if you want to listen.
I will.
You can't just like basically associate like a variable of something that occurred in America under the Biden-Harris administration and blame it on the Biden-Harris administration. That is a prime example of a correlation causation fallacy. Like, for instance, do you think it'd be fair for me to say, well, because in April of 2020, when businesses were shut down because of the pandemic, I identified that the unemployment rate was 14.8%. Do you think it'd be fair for me to blame that super high unemployment rate on Trump just because it happened in America under his presidency?
I think that's a good analogy.
I wouldn't be able to do that unless I were able to clearly articulate what Donald Trump did to cause it, right?
Correct.
Okay, so therefore, you can't say that the Biden-Harris administration caused an increase in undocumented entry into America unless you could clearly articulate what they did to cause it.
Can you clearly articulate what they didn't do to cause that? If
So, first and foremost,
when I look at numbers,
you're trying to
the
burden-
numbers speak clearly.
Well, you're trying to burden shift right now, right? So I actually wouldn't have the burden of proof to claim the negation or to prove the negation of your claim, and you'd actually have the burden of proof to demonstrate the affirmation of your claim, right? And then keep in mind, just saying that you have the numbers, you have like the numbers of like immigration entry into the country, right? That's
Sure.
not enough evidence to blame it on them because once again, that's a prime example of the correlation causation fallacy. Right? Like for instance, I think that like more people like eat ice cream, right? The closer Saturn is to Earth. right? That's a fact. That's one of those like super random correlation causations, super like random like correlation. Sorry, not causation. Can I say, because you don't have any reason to believe that Saturn being closer to the Earth doesn't cause people to eat ice cream, that therefore it does?
Not necessarily.
Okay, right. So the burden would be on you to demonstrate, right, what they did to cause the increase in undocumented entry, even if I couldn't provide you with any reason to believe that they didn't. Can I provide you with a reason to believe that they didn't? Absolutely. Will I? No, because I want you to demonstrate your burden of proof by arguing in the affirmation of the claim that the Biden-Harris administration caused more undocumented entry into this country. So do it. How do they cause it?
Sure. So with Saturn, you could just basically come to a conclusion that that's just by happenstance, right? Saturn just happened to be closer to the Earth. People ate more ice cream. People love Ben and Jerry's. They had to add.
Then how do you know that the Biden-Harris administration didn't just happen to be the president?
Because Trump, that's one of the things he runs on, and that's one of the things he enforces, and that's one of the things you guys didn't enforce. That's one of the guys.
Wait, so now you're saying that, well, it's because Trump said that the Biden-Harris administration caused it. Are you literally appealing to Donald Trump's word of mouth for truth? Okay, last night Donald Trump also said that Biden's FBI had 274 agents involved with the January 6 riots in 2021. Even though on January 6, 2021, Biden had literally never been president before. Listen, man, stop the sophistry. Tell me, what did the Biden-Harris administration do to quote unquote open up the borders?
I can't speak perfectly. I think they
how
were more
do you
lax
know
on it.
that they opened the borders?
I think they didn't open the borders. I just think they were more lax in terms of security.
So then what did they change in immigration policy to make it quote unquote more lax compared to what Donald Trump had left when he left office his first time around that was relevant
Trump's
to
border
increasing
control,
the amount of undocumented entry into this country?
I forget the guy's name, but like the guy that Trump employed in his first term and now in his second term, I don't know his name, Dean, but he's like the, big guy in terms that he employed in terms of in controlling border policy and all that stuff like that. Listen,
words, nice words, bro.
Oh, we want to talk about words. You were the one talking about Trump earlier being pedophilic. When you're talking about Biden, are you kidding me? This dude is the grossest dude ever. And still, I'm seeing this dude defends pedos, which I find ridiculous. By the way, I haven't said.
Hey, I have a question. When was Biden held civilly liable for raping a woman? Like Trump was? Or like, when did Biden go on a podcast like Donald Trump went on Howard Stern's in 2005 and openly boast about perving on the naked bodies of kids? When did Biden like sexualize a 10-year-old girl saying he'd date her in 10 years?
I just say Biden was a little bit creepy sometimes. That's all I'm going to say. I'd like to pivot.
Okay, but no, I wouldn't like to pivot at all. Sit your ass down and respond to my question. So Biden didn't say any of this. Oh, but Trump did.
I think Trump makes bad jokes.
Okay, so he made a bad joke when he admitted to perving on kids?
I don't know. He had that one thing where he said something about
wait. So do you just think when like he literally raped a woman, that was just a bad joke?
I think that's still speculated.
What is speculation?
I don't think he did that.
You don't think he did that, even though a court determined he did. Are you telling me that you think our courts are unreliable?
Can I ask you, Dean?
No, you can't. No, you can't. So are you telling me that therefore you think our courts are unreliable?
I mean, come on. First off, can I ask you, Dean?
No, you can't. Answer my question. Are you telling me that you think our courts are unreliable? Why can't you answer the damn question? You think our criminal justice system and American courts are unreliable? Therefore, because you think that the totality of the DOJ is unreliable, then you obviously wouldn't support mass deportation because you wouldn't be able to entrust the DOJ to reliably determine if the people that they're sending to the terrorist prison center in El Salvador are undocumented immigrants or not. Or do you think that because of how unreliable our courts are, that it's very possible that we're just sending innocent American citizens to be beaten and tortured in El Salvador?
these people aren't all going to El Salvador, Dean.
We literally struck a deal to give them, what was it, like $3 billion per year to take many of our inmates? Inmates per Trump?
Listen, the reason why I said I don't think the courts are reliable is because if I got convicted for something a black person got convicted for, something a white woman got convicted for, we'd all three get a different sentence. That's the reason why I think the court system is a little...
So you're saying that there's gender and racial biases in the
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm not going to debate that, of course.
No, there absolutely is. So is Donald Trump a black man or a rich white man?
Do you think that he would have even been pursued for?
Yeah.
Let me
because the
you said not to interrupt
the
me.
gender and
Let me
race
just please
biases
interrupt
that
me for a
operate inside of our court system further disparage you more as you are closer in proximity to blackness or a non-man, right? As well as closer in proximity to a lower socioeconomic status.
Do you think for a second that Donald Trump would have even been pursued in litigation for anything if he would have even ran for presidency? Or do you think they would have left him alone if he just said, I'm going to ride off into the sunset?
I don't think it matters either way. So imagine...
I think it does matter a little bit.
I'll tell you why it doesn't. Are you ready?
Sure.
Yeah, so like imagine that like Alvin Bragg didn't want to prosecute Donald Trump for his felonies if he never wanted to become president. Or E. Jean Carroll never wanted to bring forth the fact that she was great by Donald Trump if he never wanted to become president. That doesn't invalidate that the prosecution is truthful and accurate. And if anything, it makes me think even higher of people like E. Jean Carroll and even higher of people like Alvin Bragg, who are willing to put their goddamn reputation on the line, who are willing to accept the fact that from this point forward in history, there will be millions of Americans that grossly misinterpret them, lob hateful speech, and incredibly terrible claims against them, such as calling E. Jean Carroll crazy, making her lose her job, having her reputation destroyed, being turned into a monolith of the left, all in pursuit of holding the goddamn president of the country accountable. We absolutely need to hold those in positions of power accountable for the atrocities in which they commit. So if E. Jean Carroll only decided to pursue litigation against Donald Trump to inform the American people that support him that he is a rapist, this doesn't make her a monster. This makes her a goddamn patriot. And the fact that you are telling me that, oh, well, maybe because if Donald Trump was a private citizen and not the goddamn president, he wouldn't be being held accountable for his crimes, therefore you don't care about the crimes, is just incredibly weak, spineless, sophist nonsense from a member of a goddamn cult.
It's not me saying that he shouldn't be, prosecuted for whatever, if he did, whatever he did, sure he did, I don't care. Well, I do care, but what I'm saying is he, none of that would have been pursued if he didn't even try, because they wanted to shut him up. You guys talk about fascism and you guys throw that word around. At least your people do.
It's not fascist at all. It's not fascist at all to want to hold those in power accountable. It's your patriotic duty.
Silencing a political opponent. I think that was the main agenda in terms of, I don't think it was about finding any sort of justification.
Hey, sir, could you please tell me how holding those in power accountable is fascist? Oh, you can't? See how stupid you sound?
Well, I was just processing your question for a half a second, Dean. Okay, sure. Listen, he does all that stuff, absolutely. But I just don't think it would have even been pursued. And you, like you said, does it even matter if they would have done that, if that would have happened or not, or if he would have been running for presidency or not? Yeah, I think it does matter a little bit, because I think that's a big reason why it was pursued. Dean, you won this round.
No,
absolutely.
Listen, stop talking. I'm going to repeat this, and I want you to listen very closely to every word that is about to come out of my mouth. Are you ready?
Sure. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Even if Donald Trump wouldn't have been pursued for his crimes, if he, like, for instance, was a private citizen that never wanted to become president, that does not make it bad. That does not make it wrong for him to be pursued for his crimes because he is president. Okay? It is a fact that the more power you have, right, the more critical people are going to be in examining the actions that you have committed. Okay? It is a fact that the more media attention that you have on you, the more critical people are going to be of the actions that you have committed. Okay? And in fact, right, like a prosecutor from New York doing a deep dive into Donald Trump and what he has done, and then identifying 34 things that he did do that were illegal, then wanting to prosecute him for those things, right? To either prevent him from being president or just to inform people before they cast their vote for him that he has done these things isn't wrong at all. Right? You are literally arguing that under certain pretenses, it is wrong to hold people accountable, legally speaking, for crimes that they have committed. And I think that's fucking disgusting, especially coming from the same person that defended stripping undocumented immigrants from their constitutional rights to quote unquote hold them accountable for a goddamn misdemeanor. So why would you turn around and say in any sense that somebody such as Trump is above the law, and even if he committed these felonies, even if he raped E. Jean Carroll, it is wrong to prosecute him for his felonies. It is wrong to prosecute him for raping E. Jean Carroll. Why do you believe that Donald Trump is above the law?
I'm not saying it's not wrong. I'm not saying he's above the law. I'm
Yes, you
saying
are. You actually are. If you weren't saying that he was above the law, then you wouldn't be saying that prosecuting him for crimes that he committed was wrong.
What I'm saying is it was pursued because of the fact that he's running for presidency.
Does that change the fact that they were prosecuting him for crimes that he committed?
It's a very poignant. It's very a poignant point.
Answer my question. Does that change the fact that they were prosecuting him for crimes he committed?
In a court of law, he committed. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
It does not change the fact. It does not change the fact.
Is it ever wrong to prosecute somebody for a bad crime they committed?
No.
So then it wasn't wrong for them to prosecute Trump. Thank you for playing.
Listen, I'm not saying it wasn't wrong. Absolutely not.
All I'm fascist.
No. I was trying to pivot, Dean. I was trying to pivot. And what I was talking about is the assassination of Charlie Kirk. When I began this conversation, I was adoring you over, by the way. So it's not like I've never really
I don't need your
liked
adoration.
you by any means, but I thought that was really nice of you.
I don't need your adoration. Okay.
Sure. That's fine. But I thought that was very valiant of you.
Okay, why are you pivoting?
To say that.
Dude,
and then you kind of reneged on it for some reason.
With all due respect, why are you pivoting?
Well, you won. You won that debate. I wanted to pivot to something else that I
Perfect. I appreciate you for coming up, man. I hope you have a good rest of your day. We're going to move on to that next Trump supporter. Hop in that queue if you happen to be a supporter of Donald Trump's. We're going to get you loaded up into the live. Just make sure that you are an American adult that supports Trump as president. Guys, I am tired today. Listen, I am very tired today. Dude, something is in the air with these guys. They're just, oh my goodness. All right. Something's in the air. Sherry, thank you so much for the $15 donation over on Venmo, who says, I really enjoyed your debate yesterday on fascism. I think that your first question for everybody should be, are you a fascist or anti-fascist? You're doing an amazing job. Thank you, Sherry. That is incredibly kind of you. Show some love to Sherry down below in that chat for the $15 on Venmo, as well as Mandy, thank you for the Galaxy. I'd also like to thank Ashley. Thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo. Thank you, Ashley. Bryn, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. Bryn with the 20 big ones says, this better be to you, big advocate. I would like to speak to you to open my mind even more. Just let me know when. Thank you for your work for my community. I am non-binary femme with a Korean AMAB partner. Thank you so much. Bryn, are you a Trump supporter? But I appreciate you for the $20. Just asking you that because you said that you want to speak with me. As well as Jesse, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo. Show some love to Jesse. Phil, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo over on Venmo 22 minutes ago. Show some love to Phil down below. As well as Lexi, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo 20 minutes ago. Just showing some love. Thank you so much, Lexi. What's up? Do you support Trump?
I'm not a Trump supporter, but I feel like I could debate.
I'm sorry. Unfortunately, we are just looking for Trump supporters. As well as London Water. Thank you so much for the joining the quote-unquote Dean Team Dream Team membership over on the YouTube channel. We just launched a membership on the YouTube channel. So if you want a cool way to, new cool way to support me over there, feel free to join the Dean Team Dream Team. But let's go to get that next guest up here right now. What is up? Do you support Trump? Hello? Brody's not here. We're going to move on to the next guest, guys. Only hop in that queue if you happen to be MAGA, and we'll happily get you loaded up in here. We got Jason Snyder connecting to the stream. While we're getting Jason up in here, I'd like to thank Belinda. Thank you for the $30. Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Are you MAGA?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you support Trump?
No, but my dad does.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie. The moment I heard the first syllable of the word no, I kicked you. If your dad's with you, feel free to hop back in, hop in that queue. But I kicked you the moment I heard the in of the no, and then it just took a little bit to go through. What's up? Do you support Trump? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Guys, please keep the trolling to a minimum. I understand that you think it's funny. I'm going to be honest, no one else does. And we're just kind of looking for some debates with Trump supporters. Go ahead and hop in that queue if you support Trump. But like I was in the middle of saying, Belinda, thank you so much for the $30 over on PayPal. Let's get 300 big Belinda W's down below in that chat. Thank you so much for your kindness. Belinda with a $30 says, big love from Australia, Dean. You're fighting the good fight, and we're so proud of you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Belinda. Huge shout out to Belinda. Everybody's saying in the chat that they think the trolling is funny. They're actually lying, okay? They're bots paid by the RNC to come in here and divide the left. Okay, don't pay any attention to the bots spamming that they think that the trolling is funny in the chat. Okay, they're all bots. They're all bots. And if you could find a clip of me laughing at a troll, just know it's AI. All right, just know it's AI.
Hi, I'm not AI.
Oh, hey, do you support Trump?
So my dad does, and I was wondering if you could like debate his policies.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay, is your dad with you?
No, not currently, but
Yeah, feel free to come up if he's with you. But unfortunately, if he's not with you, we are just going to go and move on. We're going to go to get that next guest, Bryn, loaded up in here right now. Veronica, thank you so much for the $45 donation over on PayPal. Thank you, Veronica. Holy shit. Dude, Veronica with a big 50 says, hey, Dean, sending you some love so you can continue to debate and prove Trump supporters wrong. Huge shout out to you from Europe. Dude, listen, all the love in the world to you, Veronica. All the love to Europe. Thank you so much for your kindness. And I apologize if, it took me a while to get around to reading your donation out. I'm going to try to be a little bit more on top of it. And I hope that you're still in here. I'd also like to thank, this came in seriously a while ago. Ida, I really hope that you're still here. Ida, thank you for the $50 on PayPal too. Listen, chat, while we're looking for that next Trump supporter, holy shit, show some love to Ida. Thank you. Thank you. Seriously, Ida, thank you so much. That is IDA. Ida with the $50 says, have a great day. Get something nice on me. Thank you so much, Ida. That is incredibly, incredibly kind of you. $50 is a shit ton of money. You are incredibly generous. I do not deserve that. Thank you so much for your kindness. Show some love to Ida while we get that next guest loaded up in here. As well as Rachel, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal. Appreciate that, Rachel. And then Kathleen, thank you for the $11.11. Tanisha with a 5, Ellen with a 5, and Rio with a 6. Thank you guys so much. I think that we're all caught up. If you're watching and you want to support me, you can find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio. Moving on to that next Trump supporter right now, guys. Go ahead and put a me with your age down below in that chat of your MAGA. We'll happily get you loaded up in to have a conversation. I'm kind of losing my cool today, though. Yo, Yosef, thank you for the $20 over on Super Chat. Yosef says, keep up the great work, Dean. Thank you so much, Yosef.
I was next.
As well as Lamb, thank you for joining the membership over on YouTube. Same thing with Mariah. Thank you guys so much. What's going on, Jose? Do you support Trump? Okay, they're not here. Listen, guys, right now we have over 15,000 people in the stream. Why can't I find one singular Trump supporter? Holy shit. What's up? Do you support Trump?
I don't support Trump.
Okay, then please don't join the queue. Lexi, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. Thank you so much, Lexi. It's very kind of you. Very kind of you. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay, and why the hell do you support the worst president of your life?
He's actually the best president, and I think you're a piece of shit and you're a closet gay, and I think you should go fuck yourself.
Okay, very interesting, Big Dog B. So I have a crystal ball in my hand. It tells me that you're a little beta who's going to tuck your tail in between your legs, and you're going to leave after crashing out because you're an emotional man.
Who's leaving? I'm still here.
Oh, great, Nate. I'm really happy that the rage bait worked. So you said that you think that Donald Trump is a really good president and that you think I'm gay and
yes,
that you really don't
100%.
like me.
Yes, 100%.
Did you know that I'm actually straight?
Are you?
Yes.
You don't act straight.
Are you forcing a sexual orientation onto me right now? Isn't that what you say the LGBTQ plus community does? Turns out it's only people on the right.
I guess so, buddy.
Yeah, and then you said that I don't act straight. What does that mean?
You tell me. Look how you talk. Look how you act. Look who you support. Look who you support.
I speak intelligently with big words. Are you saying that straight men don't typically speak intelligently with big words?
You don't.
No, listen. You said, look at the way that you speak. Okay, intelligently with big words. So straight men, they don't do that ever, right?
I guess so, buddy.
Okay. All right. Well, a little bit of a self dunk there. Went from being homophobic to quote unquote heterophobic. I'm just kidding. That was a joke. About the heterophobic part. I wasn't joking about the homophobic part. So, okay, emotional man, listen up. You told us that you think that Donald Trump is the best president, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. If you could give me 5 clear reasons why Donald Trump is a really good president, I'll give you a massive round of applause because I just think you're totally incapable of doing so.
So you honestly think that Joe Biden
One
was
second.
better
Raymond, thank you so much for the $50 over. Sorry, not the $50, the 80 Australian dollars on Super Chat. Raymond with with 80 Australian dollars says, hello from Australia. Like listening to your show. Thank you so much for the love, dude. Raymond, let's get 800 big Raymond W's down below, as well as let's get, let's go to get 100 Nadine W's down below in that chat. Nadine with the $13 on PayPal says, big love from the UK. Big love to the UK. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for your kindness, as well as Nadia. Thank you for the $1 in Venmo. Jamie with the $10 and Kylie with the $10. Thank you so much, Jamie, Kylie, and Raymond. W's to all the donors. Can I get a quick W from you for all the donors? Hey, Nate.
Hurry up, Dean. I ain't got all day, dude.
Can I just get a quick W for the donors from you? Nate, do you know what that means? No, you don't. Okay. Whatever. So anyways, I asked you to name 5 reasons why you support Trump, and the first words that left your mouth were "but Joe Biden." So Joe Biden would hopefully have.
No,
nothing
I
to do
had
with
a
why you
question.
think
I
Donald
had a
Trump is
question
good
for
president.
you. I had a question for you.
Oh, so
so
you're scared because you don't answer mine.
I'm not scared.
Oh, then why don't you want to answer my question?
Because you always ask everybody else questions, but you don't want nobody else to ask you questions.
Well, I mean, I kind of do ask the question that's floating on top of my head right now.
All right, I'll answer your question. But
good boy.
My question to you is: you really think that Joe Biden was a better president than Trump in his first term or right now? Do you? And also, second question: do you think that Trump has gotten more done for America in so far that he's been in his second term than Joe Biden has in the last 4 years? Yes or no?
Oh, this is a really easy question to answer. Yeah, Biden was a significantly better president than Trump was in his first term or being today. And he also got a significantly... How so?
Yeah.
Well, it's because
name 5 things that he's done.
Sure. I'm going to go ahead and name 5 things that Biden did. Then you're going to name 5 things that Trump did. Biden did the PACT Act that invested $800 million into the expansion of VA healthcare resources. He also did the infrastructure bill that invested $1 trillion into renewing American infrastructure following COVID, which not only generated more jobs for more Americans, but also generated more Americans making more money to better stimulate the economy. He also did the Inflation Reduction Act, which was not only the largest investment into both renewable and non-renewable energy resources in modern American history, but it was also deficit reducing over the 10-year lifespan of the bill. That's 3. He also did the Chips and Science Act, which was a $35 billion investment into American chip producers, which has now resulted within chip producers such as NVIDIA and Intel opening up new facilities in Idaho and Arizona because of it, which is going to bump our global supply of chips from sub 1% to close to 25 in 6 years. And then maybe the 5th thing that he did that I was a really big fan of would have to be the... I don't know, there's so many. The increases in the child tax credit under the American Rescue Plan. Those were good. And it reduced childhood poverty by upwards of 40%. So there's my 5 things that I think Biden did super duper good for the country.
You listen so good.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much. It's funny because when you came into the conversation, you're saying that you hate me. Now you're calling me a good boy. Is this like a kink thing for you?
No, not.
No, okay.
No.
So anyway, so now what are the 5 things?
I forgot. You like that. You forgot.
So now what are like the 5 things that like Donald Trump has done super good that you're a fan of? Go ahead. Do you feel like sharing? You have to unmute. Hey, can you click on your profile picture and hit the icon of your microphone? Oh. He can't even figure out how to click 2 buttons. I'll walk you through it. Don't worry, I got you. All right. So that's you down there in the bottom right-hand corner. Click on your profile picture. It won't show the gift menu. It'll show you a control panel for yourself. And then there's going to be an icon of a microphone somewhere on that control panel that I want you to click on to unmute yourself. If you can't figure it out in 10 seconds, then I will send you an invite to unmute. I'm going to send, Nate, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to send you an invite to unmute. It's just going to be a pop-up box in the middle of your phone screen where you just are seriously going to have to select, yes, I want to unmute. I'm going to do that in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sending. He left. Listen, what was my prediction at the beginning of this conversation, chat? Does anybody remember it? Does anybody remember the crystal ball? What did the crystal ball say? What did the imaginary crystal ball in my hand say? Dude, so fucking predictable. So fucking predictable. Holy shit. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's go and get that next guest loaded up in here. Abby, holy shit. Thank you for the $50 donation on Venmo. That is ABBIE. Thank you so much, Abby. Abby with the $50 says, men like you and Parker give me great hope for my newborn grand twin boys. Oh, dude, all the love in the world to you and your family, Abby. That's super exciting. Thank you for your kind words and the $50. Dude, let's get 500 Abby W's down below. As well as Bonnie, thank you for the 5. Shannon, thank you for the $10. Thank you, Bonnie and Shannon. Nadia with a 1. Nadia with a 1 penny, as well as... Alonzo, thank you for the Future City. I appreciate you for that love, Alonzo. Thank you so much. Shout out to Alonzo. As well as Isabella. Thank you so much for the $15 on PayPal. Isabella says, hey, Dean, me and my sister Audrey watch your streams together. Would you give her a shout out? Thank you for all that you do. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to both of y'all. Thank you guys so much for the love. What is going on, Rachel? Do you support Trump?
Hey, Dean. Yeah, I voted for him.
All right, Rachel. Super duper sad to hear that. Why do you support Trump?
Well, I just wanted to ask you, I have 2 autistic sons, and I was wanting your take on the whole autism thing. Like, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, completely outrageous and directly materializes people such as your 2 sons. Think about it this way. RFK said...
One second.
RFK said like literally 2 days ago that there's a correlation between circumcision and autism after Donald Trump said 2 weeks ago that there's a correlation between taking Tylenol and autism. Okay, so both of those statements are absurdly false and have been proven wrong again and again and again and again. And what it leads to is point number 1, a dangerous stigmatization of being autistic, right? And point number 2, right? Defunding of impertinent forms of medical research related to autism and related to other things, right? Such as the use of Tylenol and painkillers during pregnancy or circumcision, so on and so forth.
And then, of course, I took Tylenol with my daughter because they tell us that's the only thing that we can take for fever or for pain. And she's not autistic. So I like the whole circumcision thing and the Tylenol I thought was complete bullshit. I was honestly just wanting what you thought about it. That's all I wanted to know.
Oh, that's all?
Yeah, that's it. I had sent you a Venmo the other day. I sent you like $5. I hope I sent it to the right one. But I appreciated your... debate yesterday with that girl that it was so crazy. It was it that Taylor girl or that Jaden girl? She had crazy ass views. So I sent you $5 and I had put in there that I was like in the queue and I was curious to see what your on take of autism was. But
well, listen,
that's
Rachel,
it. That's it. That's all I wanted to do is come on and see your input, and that I totally agree. It's definitely genetics.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you for coming up, Rachel. Best of luck to you and your family. And I definitely say, you told us that you're a Trump supporter. I hope that would change that, right? Because he's like kind of launching an attack on something that is like very close and personal to you and your family. But let's go to move on to the next Trump supporter. Go ahead and let me know down below in that chat if you're MAGA. And if you're watching and you'd like to support me in the work that we do here, feel free to donate to me over the link, over the Venmo and the PayPal found in the link tree in my bio on my TikTok account, and found in the pin message on the YouTube stream. But let's go and get that next guest loaded up here right now. Carter, thank you for the $10 over on Super Chat. Carter says, my favorite way to pass the time at Husky Rescue I work is to listen to these streams. Dude, listening to these debate streams can definitely help in passing time. I agree with that 100%. I do it too. What's up, RG? Do you support Trump? RG? I'm going to go and give you 5 seconds here, man. Nope, RG's not here. We're going to move on. Here we go. Moving on to the next guest. H, thank you so much for the $5 on PayPal asking to be put on. Sure, if you're MAGA, stay in the queue. I'll try to eventually get around to you. Brody, what's up? Do you support Trump?
I was on your live yesterday, and you gave me some viewpoints on why I shouldn't view.
I'm sorry, man. We only talked to people once. I really hope that I did end up changing your mind, though. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go. We got the next guest loaded up into the box right now, guys. Go ahead and hop in that queue if you are MAGA. We got Low connecting to the stream. What's up? Do you support Trump? Nope, not here. All right, guys, we still have close to 16,000 people hanging out with us in here for the day on TikTok. Why can't we find one person that supports Trump? Well, Jesus. MAGA's dead. MAGA is dying, everybody. Right in front of your faces.
Would you like to add a phone? MAGA is dying, everybody. Right in phone. Replace phone. Select phone.
What the fuck is going on here? What the hell?
Please try again. No phone found. Would you like to add a phone now? After the beep, say add.
Yo, what's up?
Quite an intro, my man. Do you support Trump?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I do, buddy.
Okay. Are you driving?
No. You there?
Or what, are you just sitting at home?
Yeah, man, do I need to be doing something for you to talk to me?
Why are you lying?
What do you mean? Is this what is this about? You asked me if I support Trump. I said, yeah. What's your next question?
Why are you lying about not driving when we could just so clearly hear you driving?
All right.
Get out of here. Listen, man, you can't be driving on TikTok lives. It is against their terms of service. It's just for public safety. We're going to move on to the next Trump supporter right now. We got Griffin loading up in. What's up? Do you support Trump? Hello? Hello? Griffin?
Yo, can you hear me?
I can. Are you MAGA?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And how old are you?
I'm 18.
Cool, man. Let me go and thank a couple people here real quick. Lisa Jones. Dude, thank you so much for the $68 donation over on Venmo. Lisa, that is absolutely so incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much for your generosity. Seriously, Lisa, I really, really appreciate it. Lisa with a $68 on Venmo says, I'm a 68-year-old woman who's devastated by the direction of this country. You have given me a speck of hope that your generation can right this sinking ship. I think that we inevitably will. The one silver lining to all of the mutiny of Trump right now is, in my mind, a definite, near certain progressive revolution in the future. Lisa, thank you so much for being here. I'm happy that you're enjoying this stream, and thank you for the $68. Let's go and get 1,000 Lisa W's down below, as well as Caden. Thank you for the $5 saying just sending some for support, bro. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that, Caden. As well as Caleb. Thank you for the 50 cents, and shout out to Evelyn. Go ahead and take it away, man. Tell us why you support Trump.
All right, yeah. I support Trump because I feel like he's doing a really good job in the Israeli and Hamas conflict, as well as the fact that I think that I stand with his immigration stance and his abortion stance as well. So
okay, question about the first thing that you brought up, like the ceasefire, gearing towards an end of the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians. You said that that's awesome. So you, of course, very similar to myself, right, want to see an end to Palestinian suffering because that is terrible.
Yes, sir.
So how absolutely pissed off were you when Donald Trump held his press conference with Netanyahu 3 months ago and told Netanyahu that he actually wants America to help in their goal of ethnic cleansing of Palestine, and he's going to personally go into the Gaza Strip and ethnically cleanse the remaining 2.1 million Palestinians and by forcefully relocating them to Jordan and Egypt? How much did that piss you off?
I would be lying if I told you that I really saw that, but I feel like he may have said that, but what he's doing right now is helping out both sides. Both sides just signed that the first part of that peace agreement towards ceasefire, releasing hostages, and pulling out troops out of
Yeah, but like, listen,
pulling Israeli troops out.
I don't know, Griffin. It's like, from my perspective, I just kind of see it as like a talking point compared to something that like you and like other Trump supporters care about. Because like, if like you actually cared about like harm onto like innocent Palestinians, then I just don't think that you would have ever voted for Trump. You know what I mean? Like, prior to the election, he was parading himself as the most pro-Israel president that we've ever had. He was like absolutely shitting on like the very minimal weapon embargoes that the Biden-Harris administration placed on weapon and gun shipments to Israel. And in the beginning of his term, he was talking about how he just wanted Israel to finish the job, and like that he might even send America in to like finish the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian Gaza Strip. Like listen, I think that if we could end the suffering of innocent Palestinians, that is good. Okay. If we can find a way to get Palestinians like back on the Gaza Strip, back on the West Bank, rebuild their homes, right, and introduce like peace, that is an awesome thing, and I completely agree with that 110%.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that Donald Trump has been consistent in his messaging about being pro-Palestine, pro-Gaza, or pro an end of Palestinian struggle and terror, right, at all in the last year and a half. And I guess, once again, the question for you is, like, if you think it's a good thing today that we're finally starting to see a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel to a potential end of Palestinian suffering, well, then why did you still support him when he was not just advocating in solidarity of the Palestinian suffering, but actively calling for America to go into the Gaza Strip and do it ourselves?
You know, I'm more of an action guy than a talking guy, so I feel like it's easy to nitpick on things that he's been saying. I think that what he's doing right now, and you keep just bringing up Palestine and Gaza specifically, I feel like you need to focus on both sides. Both sides are suffering, and it's equally as awful on both sides.
It's equally as awful on both sides? You're wrong.
You know, I feel like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Both sides are struggling.
I'm so sorry. Which one was it? Was it the Israeli government that passed policy to forcefully annex the rest of Gaza? Or was it like the Gazan government that passed policy to forcefully annex the rest of Israel? I mean, was it like Israel who like killed? Was it like Israel that like exactly goes back? Was it Israel that ethnically cleansed 650,000 Palestinians in the 50s and 60s, or was it Palestine that ethnically cleansed 650,000 Israelis in the 50s and 60s? You know, is it Israel that's been dropping the bombs on the schools, the hospitals, and killing and starving newborn babies and 5-year-old girls? Or has it been Palestine that's doing it? Like, I think for you to like say that it's an equally bad quote unquote war on both sides and not recognize it as a ethnic cleansing on behest of the terrible Israeli government is kind of a bad thing.
Okay, that's just besides my point, though. You like, both sides are struggling. It's awful on both sides. No matter what, if it's worse on one side, I don't really care. All I care is that I feel like the struggling should end on both sides.
Do you agree that Israel's ethnically cleansing Palestine?
Dude, that's besides the point. We're talking about. I've never said I'm pro-Israel. I never said I'm pro-Palestine.
I don't think that's besides the point. Gaza is in rubble and is in total famine, and there's been tens of thousands of people that have died and hundreds of thousands of people that have been displaced. And you're saying that it's equally bad on both sides. Do you agree that Israel was starving kids, forcing a famine, destroying houses, and ethnically cleansing Palestine?
Sure, and it's awful. And I also think that Palestine is run by a terrorist organization, and they're doing awful things as well. I'm not pro either side. All I'm seeing with Trump is that I don't care what he's saying.
Being pro-Palestine doesn't make you pro-Hamas. Being pro-Palestine just kind of, in my mind, makes you like pro-common sense, pro-humanity, and against like the genocide and ethnic cleansing of innocent men, women, and children.
Yeah, and I've never said I'm for that or anything.
My point is that Trump like pro either side.
Taking action.
Right.
Trump is taking action to stop struggle on both sides. He's actually doing something. In my mind, I don't think Kamala would have been able to do that.
In my mind, my point that you still haven't responded to is that now seemingly you have a talking point saying that Donald Trump is helping in ending like terror and like terror and crime. But then when Donald Trump was actively emboldening it, calling for it, and saying that he wanted the U.S. to be personally involved in perpetuating it on the Gaza Strip, you didn't care. And like that's what like proves to me in my mind that it's nothing more than a talking point to you. Right? Because if it was more than a talking point to you, if it's something that you actually cared about, then you would have cared about Donald Trump's active call to influence the ethnic cleansing in Gaza by literally
So
deploying
are you
Americans to
arguing that
forcefully
what Trump
relocate
is doing with
the
this
remaining
peace plan-
Palestinians to Jordan and Egypt, and then to level the Gaza Strip, and then to build a Riviera to gift to Netanyahu? Is that I think that this is a talking point for you, and it's not something that you genuinely care about.
I do care about it. What do you mean? I feel like
So then why did you
said
stand,
it. I made it very
so then
clear.
why did you stand in solidarity with Trump in the election, even though he was obviously worse for the ongoing like killing and ethnic cleansing of Palestinians via his own admittance?
I
of
don't
being
think he
the most
was. I saw what
pro-Israel
Trump because he
president in
promised
American history?
action. Trump promised action, and I
Literally
wanted
before
action.
the election, he
I don't-
delayed. Literally before the election, he delayed action, violated the Logan Act, and told Netanyahu to not accept the Biden-Harris ceasefire agreement until after the election.
Are you
Right?
sure about that?
Yes, I am. Yes, absolutely. He was investigated by the DOJ for it. And like further yet on top
Was
of that,
he-
man,
was he-
like here's my thoughts. Like you're trying to prod at me to get my thoughts on the ceasefire. You're trying to prod at me to get my thoughts on the peace agreement. And you're just not responding into my arguments. It's annoying, right? But I'll get and just give you my thoughts on the ceasefire, on the peace agreement. I want peace for Palestine. I want innocent people to stop dying. I want innocent babies to stop being starved. And if we could do that, that is a good thing. Right? 110%.
Yeah.
But I think that Donald Trump is an absolute opportunist who's taken advantage of the fact that the social and public sentiment as directed towards Israel is starting to be diminished, with Canada recognizing Palestinian statehood, Australia recognizing Palestinian statehood, Germany and France stopping all weapon shipments to Israel, and the issue of Israel and Palestine no longer being like right versus left, but literally being, like in my mind for the most part, young versus old, right? Where we see that individuals on both sides of the aisle, both Democratic and Republican, right, that are older, are in vehement support of Israel, but yet the populist demand from the youth that I've seen, honestly, on both sides to some extent, is that Israel's bad. We shouldn't be allies with a country that is actively violating international law, committing war crimes, and committing an ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians. So Israel's losing their steam. So now Donald Trump is going to be the opportunistic that he wants to be, go in there and attempt to bail them out with a peace deal and virtue signal and claim that he cares about the Palestinian people, even though he's the one that chose to do a joint press conference with Netanyahu not even 3 months ago and argue that he wants to finish the leveling of the Gaza Strip and ethnically cleanse all remaining Palestinians to Jordan and Egypt. But one last point here is that Israel has a terrible, terrible history of violating ceasefire agreements, of infringing on peace deals. I mean, they've literally violated every single ceasefire agreement that we've been able to achieve so far. So I'm going to wait until it plays out a little bit more in order to make up my mind on the situation. But for the time being, I am very, very happy with the fact that I'm watching videos of innocent Palestinians going back to their homes. I'm watching videos of aid trucks finally being let into Gaza because Israel's preventing them before, and Palestinians celebrating the fact that they think that this is finally the end of the ethnic cleansing.
Yeah, there we go. That answers my question, and I think that you and me actually see very eye to eye on this topic. Obviously you're more pro-Palestine. I think what Israel's doing is wrong. And yes, I think that Israel, by no means do I agree with Netanyahu at all. I think he's an awful leader, but I think Hamas is also awful, and I think the conflict needs to stop, and that's what's happening under
Wait,
Trump.
how do you
I
feel
support
like
what
the
Trump's doing
Biden-Harris
there.
administration were like allied with Hamas? How'd that make you feel?
If they were allied with Hamas,
Yeah.
I think that'd be wrong.
Okay, would that be like your red line? Would you ever support the Biden-Harris administration if they were allied with Hamas?
Of course not. I think that supporting and allying with any terroristic organization is disgusting and awful.
You're trying to play the both sides moderate and argue that Hamas is and Israel are like both like the same and culpable. So I guess the question for you would be, then would you also say it would be a red line and you don't want to support Trump, even though he has continually called Netanyahu a criminal war hero, not a criminal, sorry. He's called him a war hero. He's called him his best friend and said that the allyship between America and Israel is incredibly deep-rooted within a great friendship.
But you see, if Trump actually truly was 100% on Israel's side, he would be pushing for Israel to win this war, not end the war.
He literally said that he's the most pro-Israel president that we've ever had. By the way, also, I just want to make it clear, like, I condemn Hamas, right? I'm not pro-Palestinian because I'm pro-Hamas. I'm pro-Palestinian because I'm pro-humanity, right? But even though, right, that is the case, I still think that you're being a hypocrite because you're equivocating Hamas to Israel, then arguing, like, if our president ever had an allyship with Hamas, that'd be a red line for you. But if they call themselves the most pro-Israel president that we've ever had in American history, they're your pick for the presidency. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like are you pro? You say that you're not pro Hamas, you're pro Palestinian, like the population, the people.
Yeah,
are you? Would that make you pro Israeli people as well?
I'm anti-ethnic cleansing, therefore I'm pro-Palestine because they're being ethnically cleansed.
So would you also say that you're pro-Israel population? Obviously, you do not agree with the government.
Well, actually,
but, I mean, it's not
it actually that same sentiment actually just makes a lot of like innocent Israeli citizens like anti-Netanyahu and pro-Palestine too, right? So it's like all of like those innocent Israeli citizens, right, and that we've finally seen starting to like protest the current government of Israel, that we've finally seen start to tear up like their mandated IDF service and like protest what the state of Israel is doing to Palestine. They're pro-Palestinian just like me, and I stand in solidarity with like all of like the innocent Israeli citizens that recognize the great harm and atrocity that is being caused by their government 110%, because a lot of them do.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I feel like, I don't know. Can we just like switch the topic now? I feel like you and me kind of almost see eye to eye, and it's kind of hard to talk to you about something that we have. I feel like we both have the same idea and the same want for the future. We just have different ways of perceiving it.
I don't think that we see eye to eye, right? Because like my point is, I'm like suspending judgment until Israel like stops, until like I actually see Israel honoring a peace agreement, because they have a long track record of dishonoring the peace agreement. However, I'm very fucking happy to see Palestinians finally having access to aid, Palestinians going back to their house and celebrating that they think this might be the end of the ethnic cleansing. But simultaneously, even if it is the end of the ethnic cleansing, I will absolutely celebrate that for the Palestinian people. However, I'm not going to celebrate Trump for doing it, because I think that Donald Trump would just be doing it as an opportunist. Okay? And I understand that that's a pretty crazy big claim to make, but I also have really crazy and definite evidence to prove it, rooted within the fact that literally 2 months ago, he was doing a joint press conference with Netanyahu saying that he wanted to send American troops into the Gaza Strip to finish the ethnic cleansing themselves.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do you mind if we shift the conversation to your thoughts on immigration and ICE?
Okay, so you support what Donald Trump is doing with immigration. How so?
I'm sorry, I just got a call, so you kind of lagged out for a second there.
So what is Donald Trump? Okay, well, actually, let me go ahead and read off a couple of donations here. Annie, thank you for the $20 over on Super Chat, who says the quote-unquote peace agreement is nothing more than a PR stunt. It's not even presented to the Palestinians before Trump and Netanyahu announced it to the world. Yeah, exactly. PR stunt. Opportunists, right? Exactly what my stance is, Annie. We agree with one another. Thank you so much for the $20, Annie. You are awesome. As well as Benjamin, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo. Show some love to Benjamin and Annie down below in that chat. Ben says, Dim, Mickey Sherrill for New Jersey governor. I don't know anything about Mickey Sherrill. Are they fucking based, Mr. Ben? Let me know. As well as David. Thank you so much for the $50 over on Venmo. I appreciate you for that love, David. Good to see you again, my friend. Let's get 500 big David W's. David attaches a message here to their $50 donation. David says, YouTube cooking MAGA. Yeah, bro, we're cooking MAGA today. I appreciate you so much for the love. As well as Audrey, thank you for the $15 over on Venmo. And I got you, Audrey. Huge shout out to Audrey's sister Bella. Huge shout out to Audrey and Bella down below in that chat. Thank you so much for the $15. As well as Bree, thank you so much for the $5 on PayPal. Shout out to you and your friend Rocky. Anya, thank you for the $6, saying, hey, Dean, I watch your debates every night. Let's fucking go, Anya. Thank you for being here. Hell yeah. As well as Cynthia, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal. Mary with a 6. I appreciate you guys so much for the love. If you want to support me, you once again can find that Venmo and PayPal in the link tree in my bio on TikTok and in the pinned message of that YouTube stream. Now, you told me that next you wanted to talk about Donald Trump's immigration policy. Do you support mass deportation? And if so, why?
I do, because I think that to an extent, I mean, law needs to be enforced. You can't, if there were just open borders, anybody can come over here. So you can't just have people come in and break the law and then expect when they have to face the consequences for breaking such law, crossing the border illegally. It shouldn't be responded with protests against it. It's just you're breaking the law and you're facing the consequences. And I don't see why people find that so shocking.
Yeah, because it's a humanitarian nightmare and it actively destroys this country, economically, socially, and morally speaking. We could get into that though. But before we do, I actually find the better argument here to be one of me pointing out your hypocrisy, Mr. MAGA Man. How the hell are you going to sit here and tell me that, well, because these people committed a misdemeanor, and we need to punish crime, this justifies a mass deportation that's going to destroy our economy, split apart families, and send people to torture prisons in El Salvador for terrorists. But when Donald Trump commits 34 felonies, gets held civilly liable for rape, is found civilly liable for committing a crime and lying about the value of his real estate, or is found in Florida to have intentionally concealed classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, or is sued by New York in the 70s for not renting to black tenants, or is found guilty of housing Russian mafia members inside a Trump estates in the 80s and 90s per TrumpFiles.org, you think that we shouldn't punish him for those crimes and instead we should make him the most powerful man in the world by supporting him as president of the United States of America. Like, when should we start punishing him for that the same way you want to punish the undocumented immigrants?
I mean, there was a trial. I mean, I feel like he went through prosecution. I mean, I don't think that there's.
What about everything that he hasn't? What about all the illegal things that he's done that he hasn't been prosecuted for? Like, it was illegal when he infringed on the First Amendment. It was illegal when he infringed on the 14th Amendment. It was illegal, when he violated the 10th Amendment and illegally deploying the National Guard in Chicago and in Portland per 2 rulings from 2 federal judges. When are we going to start holding him accountable for these crimes the same way you want to hold undocumented immigrants accountable?
Wait, how is employing the National Guard in Chicago? I live in Chicago, so how is that exactly breaking the law or whatever? Like, why should he be punished by that?
My limited understanding per the ruling from the federal court 2 days ago was that in order to deploy the National Guard in a city, you have to have good reason to do so. And we had
and I think he does have good reason. I live here. It's absurd.
We had a federal court rule that he didn't.
Okay, but can we just you're sidetracking off the discussion?
Oh yeah, for sure. But one other big crime that I wanted to touch on here was him giving the illegal directive to the military to actively arrest American citizens on American streets. Per the Posse Comitatus Act of the 19th century, the military can't function as a domestic law enforcement agency, meaning he gave them an illegal directive to do so.
All right.
One other thing. We had a federal judge that was actually appointed by himself. So she was a MAGA Republican judge in Oregon, ruled that it was illegal not only when he tried to deploy Oregon's National Guard in Portland, but it was also illegal when he tried to deploy California's National Guard in Portland, and it was illegal when he tried to deploy the Texas National Guard in Oregon.
Once again, you're sidetracking on things I have limited knowledge on. I mean, obviously this is your job. All these things. From my understanding, I just want to talk about the immigration. I mean, you can nitpick all of Trump's misdemeanors and whatever, but I mean, there's really nothing I can do about that. I just think that immigration, there should not be mass protests against this. I mean, it's I don't know. It's just ridiculous, man. Do you think that people should not be deported for this?
Oh, yeah, no. So I completely disagree with mass deportation. I think that there should also be mass protests, like No King's Day 2.0 coming up, against the tyranny of the Trump administration through ICE and other means. Absolutely.
So what do you think we should do with the people? Should we just let them come in illegally and just let them stay, do you think?
Well, for the undocumented immigrants that are already in this country, I think if they don't have a prior violent offense or pretty insane nonviolent criminal offense, they should be offered citizenship.
So that just ruins the entire system, that anybody can just come in illegally and just expect to be granted citizenship. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. Any country that's had open borders, they have.
This is an equivalent to border policy. Right?
It is to a certain extent. I mean, when you allow people just to cross illegally and then get granted citizenship, that's essentially the same as just having open borders.
So point number
Do you
one.
understand where I'm coming from with that?
No, it's not the same thing as having open borders, considering the fact that given this pathway to residency or citizenship, they would be vetted for like the same criteria I would hope individuals would be vetted for when attempting legal entry into the country in the first place, right? And if they don't meet that criteria, they would be deported or imprisoned, meaning that it's not equivalent to open borders. Not to mention that after Nixon gave amnesty to 3 million undocumented immigrants in the 80s, I believe, we didn't see an increase in undocumented border entry. And I think that mass amnesty plays a larger part of the larger role, plays a part of the larger job of fixing our immigration processes as a whole. I don't think that the buck stops at offering undocumented immigrants a pathway to residency or citizenship, but then we also have to turn around and fix the massive issues with how our legal means of entry into the country in the first place are so slow and so expensive and have been neglected and gamified by Congress in modern American history. Right?
Okay,
But like,
I
obviously,
actually-
let me just continue here for one more second. The reason like why I think that mass amnesty is a good idea, like everything that I'm describing is a good idea, and the reason why I think that mass deportation is a bad idea, isn't because I'm like a liberal. It's because I think it like is better for the country. I think that mass deportation is really bad for America. I think that it materially hurts our economy. I think that it materially hurts the immigrants. I think that it materially hurts the country. Right? And then mass amnesty, I think that it materially benefits the economy. I think that it materially benefits not just the immigrants, but also natural US born citizens, and in turn materially benefits the country.
With mass deportations, we guarantee that we are getting rid of those people.
So we're actually like better able to identify like the undocumented immigrants and deport those with like prior criminal offenses, so on and so forth, easier through mass amnesty. Like,
How?
It's better for national security because it'd be faster. Like there's like what, like 10, 11 million undocumented immigrants in America right now. Like, do you think that those 10 or 11 million undocumented immigrants would be more willing to cooperate with a plan of mass amnesty or mass deportation?
Well, mass amnesty, because that'd be better for them.
Right. So because they'd be
Yeah,
more willing to
right.
cooperate with it because it'd be better for them, we'd be able to do it faster, meaning we'd be able to identify the undocumented immigrants in our country faster.
It's not a matter of them wanting to cooperate or not. You see, they broke. This is where I disagree.
It is a matter of.
Break the law, you should be punished.
Listen,
It's like it's black and white.
It is a matter of wanting to have them cooperate with us, because when like we have this large group of people that are more willing to be more cooperative, then it's easier to identify them and it's faster, right? And then as well as like maybe like the very small marginal percentage of undocumented immigrants that are in this country that wouldn't be willing to cooperate, as they wouldn't be eligible for mass amnesty, as they have prior violent offenses, well then the scope of our like issue of deportation and like ICE's role and function would be significantly smaller, meaning they'd be able to do it easier, right? So we would be deporting higher levels of undocumented immigrants with prior violent criminal offenses, and we would be identifying the undocumented immigrants that are in the country at a significantly like faster rate of speed, right? So actually, the national security concerns that you brought up and addressed that you think would pose a threat given mass amnesty are actually like more prevalent to a greater extent given mass deportation. And now, right, you're just resulting back down to that claim, well, they broke the law, they should be held accountable. Okay, well, I mean, if you think that the punishment, the accountability for misdemeanor should be ripping families apart and deporting people to fucking Uganda, like the Trump
It's
administration
not ripping
wants to do.
families apart. They're deporting families together. They're not ripping families apart. I mean, I saw this something where you guys were like the Democratic Party was outraged because a family was illegal and then their daughter was not illegal because she was.
Let me finish without interruption this time. Abrigo Garcia is an example of ripping families apart. He has a wife and might have a kid. And right now the Trump administration wants to solely send him to goddamn Uganda, to another goddamn continent. So there's an example of ripping families apart. But listen, you didn't even let me finish my sentence. So if you think that like the right punishment for undocumented entry, right, should be ripping families apart, right, violating human rights, right, ripping naked children out of their beds and throwing them into the backs of vans, then what do you think the proper punishment should be for raping a woman?
What do you want me to say for raping a woman? That's awful. Like that.
What should the punishment be?
Jail. Like you should be put in prison for life for raping a woman. I don't understand. That's so like.
And that's another like black and white issue for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then why isn't it black and white when it comes to Trump? He was held civilly liable.
Trump did not rape a woman, dude. There's no actual evidence of that. Like if he actually did, then yes, he would be in prison.
Well,
they give you
the actual evidence.
Actual proof. Was that proven, or are you just going off of
the actual factual proof? Would be the ruling of a unanimous jury of 9.
Sorry, repeat that.
The actual factual proof would be the ruling of a unanimous jury of 9 inside of a courtroom that he raped E. Jean Carroll.
How long ago was that?
2023.
2023.
Yeah, so tell me why it's all, so black and white, punish crime, destroy the country, reduce our GDP by $1.1 trillion to $1.7 trillion per year, fire 8.3 million of our laborers, deport 11 million of our consumers, reduce our government revenue by $100 billion per year because that's what undocumented immigrants pay in taxes, rip apart families, take naked children out of their beds and throw them in the backs of vans, illegally deport Abreu Garcia to be beaten and tortured in Secot in El Salvador because it's the black and white issue of punishing a federal misdemeanor. But then all of a sudden, when it comes to, I don't know, punishing the civil court's adjudication of rape, punishing a criminal court's adjudication of 34 felonies, punishing his violation of the 1st, 2nd, 14th, and 22nd Amendment of the American Constitution, punishing his fake electors plot from 2020 where he tried to actually overthrow the election and then admitted to it in court, arguing that he thinks he rightfully won it in the first place, therefore he was justified, right? It's not black and white at all. You just deny that he did it in the first place and you want him to be your president. I just see this as raging hypocrisy, okay? Right? Punishing crime is not black and white for you because you support a criminal unchecked as president. Not to mention that unchecked criminal's presidency being used on January 21st of this year to literally pardon 72 violent offenders that tried to kill police officers on the steps of the Capitol at January 6th, including DJ Rodriguez, who he let out of jail 8 years early for trying to kill Officer Fanone, then labeled him as a patriot. See, punishing crime is only black and white for you when it is about undocumented immigrants. And the only reason why it's black and white for you is so you could ignore the nuance on how much mass deportation fucking destroys this country and places it last by eroding the moral foundation of the family unit, by tearing them apart, by destroying the economy, by all the means that I've already suggested to do with massive drops in the GDP, massive expenditures from our government, drops in government revenue too. But then when it's all about Trump, right, not black and white at all, you got to introduce that nuance of just denying the fact that courts ruled the way that they did, denying the fact that violating our Constitution is even wrong in the first place, just to uphold this cult-like depiction that he's Jesus 2.0.
You bring up so many little nuances to your argument. It's unbelievable. Like you sidetrack everything. Why can't you just admit that if you have this idea of mass amnesty,
oh my God,
why would
I'm not sidetracking anything. You said that punishing no. I'm not sidetracking anything. I'm pointing out your hypocrisy. You said that punishing crime is black and white. So why is it not black and white per your support for an adjudicated rapist, 34 count felon that called for the termination of the Constitution on Truth Social in 22, that's violated 4 amendments in the last 8 months, that is perpetually infringed on the Constitution as it relates to him declaring war on American cities, telling them to make arrests, and putting the National Guard in cities like Chicago, Memphis, Portland, etc., and so on? And why the hell are you calling an adjudication of rape little?
You see, you're using my words that I said. You asked me about the rape thing, and I said that that's awful. And I don't think I'm not super educated on this 9, the court with Trump's and his whatever this rape charge.
Can't tell.
Okay,
it's true.
But I want to talk about this mass amnesty thing, and I just want to ask you a question before you interrupt me. Please do not interrupt.
I don't want you to ignore, right, my point of hypocrisy. Before we talk about amnesty,
can we just talk about the mass? Oh my God.
No, I want you to address my argument of hypocrisy here. How about this?
You have not addressed any of my arguments. You just brought up things.
Sure. All right, listen to this. Listen to this. I'm going to be a good faith interlocutor. Give me an argument to address. I will, and then we'll go back to my argument that details how you're a hypocrite.
Okay, with mass amnesty, if we offer this idea of mass amnesty, which would not work, why would anybody want to come through the country legally if they can just cross over illegally and be granted citizenship? Why would anybody
go through the legal process?
Because we'd offer that same expedited pathway to residency or citizenship to all individuals seeking legal entry. Wow. Yeah. And then it falls down to a question of what's easier. Enter undocumented and then seek that legal process? Or
Your whole argument with mass amnesty is way faster than just doing the legal, like your argument is way faster, right? So then why would anybody want to go through the legal process?
Than the current legal process. And I think that
and we don't have that
current legal process.
Okay, so we don't have that legal process. So
yeah, just like we don't have amnesty. I'm talking about what I think is best fit for American immigration policy moving forward. We don't have either amnesty nor an expedited pathway of residency or citizenship.
Exactly why we have mass deportation right now.
We have mass deportation because we don't have amnesty. So you're saying that you'd prefer amnesty over mass deportation?
Because amnesty is not possible right now.
Why was it possible
anybody
in the 80s?
come in legally right now?
Then why was it possible in the 80s? Oh,
the 80s. Stop bringing up times like we're talking about now. Okay. Amnesty is not possible right now.
And why is amnesty not possible? Give an argument.
Because nobody would go through the actual legal process of entering our country if they could just waltz on over illegally and be granted the same benefits as the people who waited so long to actually.
I'm gonna respond to you again. You're doing the loop thing, okay? As I already told you, and I will repeat, I don't think that amnesty on its own is the solution. Amnesty plus making the legal means of entry into this country more attainable is the solution.
Do you not think that they're working towards making it more attainable to enter the country right now?
No, not at all.
That's just like false. Like people have been working on that for the past 30 years. It's been a problem.
Go ahead. Go ahead and name one policy that Donald Trump has ever even called for to make the legal means of entry into this country faster.
I can't name a specific one. I feel like
that's kind of my point here, man. See, I'm right, you're wrong.
I would disagree with that.
Okay. How can you argue that the Trump administration is working towards faster means of entry? How can you argue that if you can't even name a time Trump has stood at a podium and spoken into a mic about calling for faster means of entry? Come on, bro. Connect the goddamn dots. Do you think that I could argue that Donald Trump is like fighting for a higher federal minimum wage? No. Why? Because he's never said he is. The same way you can't argue that Donald Trump is fighting for faster means of legal entry into the country. Why? Because he's never said he is. You know? Like, come on. That's common sense. Like, really common sense.
I mean, I think that he's restricted entry from certain countries, which makes it easier to enter from other countries. He's done that.
Are you talking about his Muslim ban?
I'm not sure the exact countries that he's done.
Yeah. You're talking about in 2015 when he said that he wants to ban all new Muslim entry from every other country on earth, and then he tried to get it done through an EO. SCOTUS ruled it as unconstitutional, so instead he just drafted a list of 10 predominantly Muslim countries to ban entry from.
Does that not make it? I mean, I don't think that's what I was referring to.
Okay, then what are you referring to? The only thing that I'm familiar with is this Muslim ban, which is incredibly xenophobic, incredibly anti-American, right? Incredibly anti-religious freedom, and incredibly anti-core conservative American values like freedom of religion, First Amendment, patriotism, and constitutionalism.
I mean, on another point is he's made the entry to the United States be much like the Laken Riley Act. He is stopping people at the border that have criminal records. You know what that does? That makes it easier for people who don't have criminal records.
The Laken Riley Act sucks. I'd veto it if I was president.
Why?
Because it allows for the deportation of an undocumented immigrant on the arrest of a violent crime, not the conviction. Meaning that we're going to be deporting potential rapists and murderers to roam free on the streets of other countries because they never had an official conviction in America. All right?
Yeah, that's a lot better than having
the Laken Riley Act.
What?
The Laken Riley
Act. So you're
Act.
arguing they should walk? What? That makes no sense.
No, it's absolutely not better. Yes, they should absolutely stay in the United States and go to goddamn jail. Are you kidding me?
No, we deport them. That's the whole point. Why would we want them to stay in the country?
So they are not raping women? Imagine that. Imagine that there's an undocumented immigrant that is arrested for raping a woman per the Lake and Riley
In a country
Act.
that he isn't supposed to be in. That's common sense. If you come to-
Per the Lake and Riley Act, once an undocumented immigrant is arrested on the basis of raping a woman, they can be deported to roam free on the streets of any other country, right? Are you sure that you want potential rapists to be roaming free on the streets of other countries? Or should we do something about it, allow them due process, allow them their day in front of a judge, allow them their day to make their case, and allow for a reliable conviction to be made so we either know they're guilty, so they could go to goddamn jail, or we know that they're innocent?
So once we're in jail, we're just keeping them in American jails, or should we deport them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with keeping them in American jails. I'm fine with deporting them to another country, given that the criminal justice system there is just as reliable as ours. But I'm completely fine with my tax dollars being spent on preventing harm towards people, right? Preventing kidnaps of children, preventing raping women. Absolutely. Right. And that's why I'd veto the Lake and Riley Act. Can we now agree that the Lake and Riley Act is absolutely terrible because it'll just lead to like more innocent women being raped, more innocent children being kidnapped because we're just allowing people that we arrested for violent crimes to literally roam free on Earth?
Are you sure? I mean, I'm not 100% sure about this. Are you sure that they're just let to go walk free in other countries, or are they are they incarcerated in those other countries?
Why would they be incarcerated in another country on the basis of an accusation in America? I could see them being incarcerated in another country on the basis of a conviction in America, sure. On the basis of an accusation, absolutely not.
Are you 100% sure about that?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. All right, man. Well, I actually have to go do something, so I appreciate
But do you agree that the Lake and Riley Act is bad now?
I have to get more educated on it.
Why is that not if everything that I just said there was true, then would the Lake and Riley bill be bad?
Well, I'm going to take what you said and I'm going to go look into it more.
Well, I know, but if it was true, then would the Lake and Riley Act be bad? If it was true, then would the Lake and Riley Act be bad?
See, I can't say that. Like, I mean, I feel like the deporting these people is smarter than putting them in American jails. I think that's just it's raising taxes for, like, I mean, you can't just incarcerate all these people in American jails. That's not good for the economy.
Question: Are you okay with your tax dollars being spent on the prevention of child rape?
Yeah, if they're American citizens and they need to be in jail.
Oh, but you're not okay with your tax dollars being spent on the prevention of non-American children being raped.
What? Whoa, no. That's not.
So you are okay with your tax dollars being spent on the prevention of non-American children from being raped? You are okay with that?
I'm okay with my tax dollars being spent if this person is an American citizen. And
I just in all circumstances.
And if we have the option to deport that,
listen, I just want a simple answer. I just want a simple yes or no. Are you okay with your tax dollars being spent on the literal prevention of children from being raped in all scenarios? Yes or no?
Yes.
Because you are awesome. That means that you're okay with your tax dollars being spent on allowing undocumented immigrants that are arrested on the basis of a violent crime such as child rape to see their day in court, be found guilty, then being thrown in jail, compared to being deported on the basis of an accusation to roam free in the street of another country and recommit.
All right, I'm gonna look into that after. I mean, I think that if that's true, that they're just getting to go walk free, then yes, that is not something in that act needs to be changed. But
okay, so then if everything that I'm saying here is true about the Lake and Riley Act, then you agree with me that it's bad, right?
But there's also pros to it. I mean, like, you're getting them out of American systems.
I'm so sorry. What's more important, preventing rape or deporting an undocumented immigrant?
Preventing rape, but you see,
there you go. There you fucking
go.
There you goddamn go, bro. It's super simple.
All right, bro.
Oh, and by the way, you just said what's more important, like punishing rapists or deporting undocumented immigrants. Mina, thank you so much for the Interstellar. I really appreciate you so much for the love. Show some love to Mina down below in that chat. TikTok to S friendly language. So all that this tells us is that it would have been more important to you to punish Donald Trump, who's a rapist, lock him up for life, than to vote for him to do his mass deportation.
I don't think he actually is a rapist.
Okay, so why don't you trust the outcome of the civil court that determined he was?
Because I think if that actually was true, then he would have been jailed.
Okay, well then this just demonstrates a misunderstanding of how like the civil court proceedings in this country works. Civil courts don't imprison people, they fine them. And he was fined $87 million for the rape and defamation of E. Jean Carroll. Also, saying that if it was true that this person raped this other person, they'd be in jail is a bad way of thinking. Only around 5% of rapists inevitably find their way to jail.
I don't know. I feel like I have to look into that. I can't just say from your point of view. I think that if he actually was convicted, and you make the 5% argument. I mean, as somebody of Trump's,
I have a question. Do you look into like the conviction of every undocumented immigrant for being an undocumented immigrant?
No, of course that would be impossible.
But you still reliably trust the fact that because the court determined it, that they are undocumented immigrants, right?
Yeah, because they're undocumented immigrants.
Well, you trust the fact that a court determined that, correct? Without looking into the court, you trust.
Yeah, because that's more black and white. That's a lot more black and white than.
Well, why shouldn't you trust that Donald Trump is a rapist because a court determined it? But you should trust that an undocumented immigrant is an undocumented immigrant because a court determined it.
Because one of them is a lot more yes or no than the other.
I'm so sorry. How so?
Being illegal versus a rape charge?
Yeah, like what's the difference here? In both scenarios, the court determined it?
In one scenario, it's from a witness who's saying there's no actual physical evidence. And then when one, there's literal, you can search up their documents, and if they're undocumented, it's
from a
pretty
witness,
black and white.
there's actual no physical evidence? What are you talking about?
But was there physical evidence in Trump's rape charge?
Physical, like what kind of physical evidence? Give me a couple.
Or was did somebody just press charges against him?
Can you give me a couple examples of like what that physical evidence would look like?
For illegal immigrants?
No, for like Donald Trump's rape charge.
What physical evidence? I mean, it's like
what?
I mean, if there's DNA, they find his DNA in her, on her.
Funny motherfucker. E. Jean Carroll submitted a dress to the court that she claimed she was raped in by Trump, and she even said it had his DNA on it. They then tested it.
Did it have his DNA though from his like?
They then tested it, and they confirmed that it had male DNA on it. And then they turned around to Trump, and they're like, "Hey, Trump, can you please give us your DNA to test against this DNA on this dress that E. Jean Carroll submitted?" And he was like, "Nope, I can't do that. I'm not gonna do that. I refuse. I refuse. Even though if I'm innocent, and in me submitting my DNA would prove my innocence and save me a whole lot of money and a whole lot of trouble, I refuse."
Or submitting his DNA would get him like, I mean, I feel like there could be DNA on said dress that is not from actual sexual contact.
Literally how? He claimed that he never met her. Oh, are you calling Trump a liar?
Claimed they never met her?
Yeah, are you calling Trump a liar when he claimed he never met her?
Well, I do not know. I mean, like I said, I'm gonna have to look into it. But seriously,
seriously. Okay, you gotta go. But like, I just want you to like, you're saying that we could have just been like non-sexual DNA on her dress, but that couldn't possibly be the case if he had never met her, like he testified to. So then why did he like refuse to submit his DNA? Last question, then you can leave.
Maybe because he didn't have to, and like he was getting press charged, and he knew that he didn't want to actually have to be in that. Like, did they mandate him to? Did they make him or no?
Civil courts can't do that.
Okay, so then why would he do it?
To prove his innocence.
But he's not. It's proven his innocent. He doesn't have to do that. He wasn't proven guilty.
Right. You said he doesn't have to do it. You're right. He doesn't have to do it. But like all natural incentive structures would align with him doing it. I mean, think about it. He would have saved $88 million. He would have saved potentially losing the 2024 election. And he would have saved like millions of Americans calling him a rapist. Right. Like obviously,
I don't know.
Just think of like you were in your shoes. Okay. A woman falsely accuses you of rape. Okay, that woman claims that the dress she was wearing when you raped her, right, had your DNA on it, even though you had never met that woman in your life. And then she submits that dress to the court, DNA on it. If you had never met her in your life, obviously, you would probably submit your DNA too to prove your innocence, right?
Yeah, probably.
Exactly. Now imagine if it was like your total future hanging on the line with a second run at the presidency and $88 million and the social approval or disapproval of literally millions of Americans.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not entirely as
the
educated
cogs
on
are starting to
as you
turn.
are, so.
The cogs are starting to turn now. See how it makes sense?
All right. Yeah, I'll take what you said and I'll go look into it. I appreciate your time, man. I also like what you're doing. I want to say that. I think that's good that you're actually having. This was a good conversation. I really appreciate your time. So,
Well, we're going to move on to the next guest, guys. Griffin, appreciate you for coming up. Let's go to get that next Trump supporter loaded up into the box, guys. Hop in that queue of your MAGA. We're going to get you connected literally right now. There's also a handful of you guys that I got to thank for all of the love. You guys have been showing so much love. Holy shit. Maze, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo 30 minutes ago. Maze with the $10 says, I think today there's been hundreds of mass shootings since Trump has been in office. Yeah, the last time I checked, around a month ago, there had been an average of like 1.4 mass shootings per day. So you're right. As well as Lauren, thank you for the $20 over on Venmo as well. Thank you so much, Lauren. Let's get 200 big Lauren W's down below. Lauren with the $20 says, so much respect to you. I would love to talk to you regarding the Trump supporters who have the idea that Donald is somehow a great military leader. Maybe I could help you refine your skills with a different perspective. Sure, Lauren, why don't you go ahead and share your perspective with me and like a comment under your donation. I'd love to hear it. As well as one big one here. Oh my God, Peter, thank you so much for the $80 donation on Venmo. Holy fuck, Peter. Jeez, dude, thank you so much for your generosity. Double you Peters in that chat. Peter with the 80 big ones says, what's crazy is Trump being a raging criminal that he stole the White House classified documents and lied about it to the FBI, and it's never mentioned anymore. Yeah, dude, the reason why that's never mentioned anymore, Peter, is because it is like one of the smaller bad things he's done in the last 2 years. But this would have been Watergate 2.0 20 years ago. You know what I mean? What's going on? Do you support Trump?
No.
All right, then I got to ban you. Moving on to Rage of Slayer. Here we go, guys. Woo! Oh my God. If you want to support me, you can find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio over on TikTok, as well as in that pinned message over on the YouTube chat. I get 100% of all the proceeds donated to me over on those platforms. Quite frankly, you could even like attach a message and I will read it off on live. I appreciate everyone so much for all the love. What's up? Are you MAGA? Hello? Rage of Slayer, 5 seconds before you're banned.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you support Trump?
How are you? Yeah, I do.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 26.
All right, Mr. Rage of Slayer, 26 years old. Let me thank 4 people, actually, 3 people, and then we'll hop into the debates. First and foremost, D's Nuts, appreciate you for the 2 pennies over on PayPal. D's Nuts says, I'm a gobble your booty, little boy. D's Nuts, no. Mariah, thank you for the $20 over on PayPal. Mariah with the $20. Show some love to Mariah down below. Mariah says, I love watching your lives to get more knowledgeable. I'm from Texas and my family's MAGA. They hate to talk politics with me because I bring facts I learned from you. Fuck yeah, Mariah. You're a goddamn icon. Show some love to Mariah the icon down below in that chat. As well as Christopher. Thank you so much for the $50 on PayPal and the little dog shop with the 30. Thank you guys both so much. Let's get 500 Christopher W's and 300 little dog shop W's. Guys, thank you so much for the love. Fucking seriously. As well as Christopher, I just read your message there. I agree with everything you said. We do need to focus on updating immigration paths 110%. Spot on, Christopher. And then little dog shop, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for the love. You guys are awesome. We're all caught up. Rage of Slayer, go ahead and hop into it. Why the hell do you support the worst president of your goddamn diddly darn life?
Well, I think he's been doing a lot for my community. I'm black, and I think that he's helped out the black community a lot.
Okay, I guess we'll start off with obviously the next common sense question. How?
Yeah, so I mean, we were averaging about 837 unsolved H-sides a year in the city that I'm from. And when the National Guard came in, he's drastically decreased that. He's also gotten rid of DEI, so I no longer have to wonder if I'm having this job or this position just because I'm black. And I think he's helped out a ton when it comes to equality amongst blacks.
Okay, what is the first thing that you said?
Yeah, he's helped in the National Guard into my city.
Okay, and done what? Just to clarify, I just literally repeat what you said.
Yeah, he's brought in the National Guard. There was 837 unsolved H-sides the prior year.
Homicide.
And he's helped drastically decrease that with the National Guard's deployment.
Yeah, didn't a federal judge rule like yesterday that there was an illegal deployment in Illinois?
Yeah, I'm not in Illinois, so.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Sorry. For whatever reason, I keep on wanting to say that Chicago's in Illinois. I'm sorry. I'm a mess. Listen, I want to start off with the second one first. So you're talking about DEI. You're saying that he got rid of DEI. So when you're in the running for a job, you no longer have to wonder if you're getting the job because you're black. So how did he get rid of this quote unquote DEI? What did he do?
Yeah, he's made it more acceptable for companies to not have to be forced into opt into the system or that model. So the companies don't have to opt into it as much anymore as before, where it was kind of like this polarizing thing that all companies should do.
Wait, Chicago is in Illinois.
I'm not in Chicago though. I never said I lived in Chicago.
Oh, I thought you said that he deployed the National Guard to Chicago, and it like
no, he to my city. I said to my city.
Okay, I thought that you said Chicago. Are you talking about Portland, Memphis?
Yeah, to Portland.
Portland. Oh, we actually had another federal judge rule like last week that his deployment of the National Guard in Portland was illegal.
No, that's fine. I mean, but it's definitely helped the crime. We were averaging a lot of unsolved H sides, and then also too, there was a lot of mass pew-pewings in the area that I grew up in. So
I mean,
it's helped out a ton.
So like mass pew-pewings are at like a drastic high right now. Like at least from what I've seen under the Trump administration so far, I think we've had like over like 200 mass shootings so far in his term. And honestly, like I think that Donald Trump's response to the mass shootings has been incredibly terrible because instead of attempting to find a way to prevent them, instead he's just like politicized them, which I think is completely gross, right? And then once again, right, you said, oh, it's great because it's reduced violent crime. Could you give me any evidence that like the existence of the National Guard in Portland for like 2 fucking days because it was before it was ruled as illegal significantly reduced crime?
Yeah, so it's helped out a ton within the workforce. I mean, it's anecdotal what's happening there. My friend is on the police force, and he's been able to help solve four crimes that have been on his desk within those 48 hours. So, I mean, I think that it's a major win, don't you?
Well, you're saying it's anecdotal and you have no real evidence for it, so it sounds like a major loss of a debate argument. And then also you said it's more acceptable for companies to not hire people on the basis of their race. Like which ones?
I don't want to dox myself, so I'm not going to say the company that I work for.
Okay, well, I mean, seemingly it doesn't just seem like you have a compelling argument. It just seems like rhetoric, you know?
How is it rhetoric?
Because you're saying before Trump, people would get hired, not based on their merit, but because they're black. Now, after Trump, people are no longer getting hired because they're black. And I can't name anything that Donald Trump did to stop this. And I also can't name any company that did this. And I also can't name any company that stopped this. It's just a massive trust me, bro.
I mean, you can look into different corporations, but I mean, there's 13,000 people here. I don't want to dox myself. And people keep saying that.
How about you give me an example of a corporation that you don't work for?
People keep saying that I'm white. This is my skin. This is clearly black. It's not white. So I think racial testing is kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. You kind of ate y'all up. Go ahead.
What do you mean he ate us up?
No, you ate them up.
Oh, I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean personally, right, when you don't have to constantly worry or not if like the white person next to you is going to be thinking whether or not like you got this job because of your skin color or because the HR has to fill these certain quotas, it helps my life a ton because I know that I'm only getting the job based upon my merit. There's executive orders in place that have helped stop DEI when it comes to like government contracts. So most private companies that are getting those government contracts aren't having to utilize DEI to get those contracts.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the first part of that statement again? I was reading something. I'm terrible. My apologies.
No, you're good, man. So yeah, I was just saying that like when he removed it from like government, like having DEI based upon DEI within the government.
Yeah, what did he remove? Are you talking about Lyndon B. Johnson's executive order?
No, I'm just talking about DEI in general. So DEI, like as it pertains to.
So then, what did he specifically remove?
Yeah, the training practices, like the forced training practices
of what?
like whatever the companies want. DEI isn't a standardized practice.
I'm sorry, this is all just so vague. You said that he removed it in the federal government. What, specifically, like, what did he remove in the federal government? Also, like, for the president to exert like power and control over like government agencies, it's obviously going to be through an executive order or like repealing other executive orders. So, like, what executive orders did he repeal, or what executive orders did he sign into law to like prevent individuals from getting jobs on the basis of the race?
Yeah, so we know that DEI is not a universal training, right? Like, we know that it's up to the private companies that opt in what their DEI training looks like.
Okay, you're not answering my question.
Well, I mean, like, you're asking me for a broad answer of what he did.
No, I'm actually not asking you for a broad answer. I'm just asking you for like any answer of like specific actions that he engaged with to quote unquote remove DEI in the federal government.
Yes. So what I'm telling you right now is that when you have contracts within the federal government that had once requirements of DEI training to make sure that employees were following quote unquote best standard practices when hiring, when that removal is taken out, it gives an equal opportunity for all people that are applying.
So yeah, what was taken out of where? Like what government agencies was he involved with? How did he take certain training practices out? Can you point towards like any particular federal agency?
Department of Defense.
Okay, the DoD.
Yeah, Department of Defense.
So what specifically did he change in the DoD that ended DEI?
He took out mandatory DEI practices in order to have awardings of contracts.
DEI practices. Okay. Now, what are those mandatory practices?
It's whatever the company decides to opt in for. They just have to have a DEI practice or a DEI course.
Okay. And then he took this out through an executive order?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. What executive order?
I believe it was called the merit. Hold on, it was like the first 100 days, but it was like the merit restoring merit-based practices in America. Was it the ending racial and wasteful government DI programs? Yes.
Okay, let's read it together. Purpose and policy: the Biden administration forced illegal and immoral discrimination programs going by the name of DEI into virtually all aspects of the federal government in areas ranging from airline safety to the military. This was a concerted effort stemming from President Biden's first day in office, when he issued the executive order number 13985, advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities throughout the federal government. Pursuant to this, nearly every federal agency and entity submitted to equity action plans to detail the ways that they pursued further DEI infiltration of the federal government. The public release of these plans demonstrated immense public waste and shameful discrimination. That ends today. America deserves a government committed to serving every person with equal dignity and respect, and to expending precious taxpayers' resources on only making America great. So point number one, it sounds like he wants to do this to like save the American taxpayer's dollar. Meanwhile, he just signed the most expensive policy that we've seen from the American Congress ever into law. That policy being the Big Beautiful Bill that expends $4.5 trillion in his first term. He also spent $8.4 trillion, doubling every penny that was spent under the Biden-Harris administration. So I'm not sure that he's going to be saving any taxpayers' dollars here, as he's been one of the most significant wasters of the taxpayers' dollar in American history. Now, to the first point about removing DEI, can you point me towards the executive orders that he's referring to of Biden's that implemented DEI, so I could specifically read exactly what was restricted?
Yeah, I would have to get to my computer, but when we're just talking about it, would you agree that the executive order you just read repeals the DEI practices within the federal government?
Well, I agree that it's repealing things that Biden did, but now we need to determine if those things that Biden did were right or wrong, right? So, like, what are those very specific things that Biden did?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me get to my computer.
Okay. In the meantime, guys, make sure that we're double tapping away on that phone screen. All right. I'm reading the Biden executive order right now. Okay. By advancing equity across the federal government, we can create opportunities for the improvement of communities that have been historically underserved, which benefits everyone. For example, an analysis shows that closing racial gaps in wages, housing credits, lending opportunities, and access to higher levels of education would amount to an additional $5 trillion in GDP in the American economy over the next 5 years. The federal government's goal in advancing equity is to provide everybody with the same opportunity to reach their full potential. Consistent with these aims, each agency must assess whether and to what extent its programs and its policies perpetuate systemic barriers to opportunities and benefits for everybody, for people of color and then other underserved groups. Such assessments will better equip agencies to develop policies and programs that will deliver resources and benefits equitably to all.
Yep. So I found the executive order is Executive Order 13985 on the Federal Register .gov.
Yeah, so I'm actually reading it right now, and literally all that this executive order says is that the aim and the goal of the executive order is to ensure that everybody, regardless of like race, regardless of gender, regardless of ethnicity, should have like the same opportunity in the American workforce, and that actually aiming towards allowing everybody to have the same amount of opportunity in the American workforce would be incredibly beneficial to the American economy by adding an additional $5 trillion in GDP in the next 5 years, and that the specific role that this executive order is serving is just to ensure that inside of federal agencies, there's not like discrimination in hiring processes, right? And I don't think that an assurance that there's not discrimination in hiring processes would amount to an unfair, like quote unquote DEI tool that is giving black individuals jobs simply because they are black.
Yeah, that's one way of like broadly like painting a stroke of positivity, but Section 7 actually does the complete opposite of what you just stated. Section 7 is very broadly, loosely stating promoting equitable delivery of government benefits and equitable communities. And it states, in government contracting and procurement opportunities should be available on equal basis to all eligible providers of goods and services to meet these objectives and to enhance compliance within existing civil laws. Section point B within Section 7 says the administrator of the U.S. Digital Service, the United States Chief Technological Officer, the Chief Information Officer of the United States, and the heads of the other agencies of these designees shall take necessary action consistent with applicable law to support agencies in developing such plans.
Yeah.
Now, when we look...
Yeah, dude, like literally, I mean, I have no issue with what you just read off. I'll read it off for you again. Government contracting should procure opportunities on an equal basis to all eligible providers of goods and services. Like, dude, I mean, what do you not understand about the word equal there? Like, literally, like the goal of this executive order is just to ensure that there's equal opportunity for everybody, regardless of one's race or gender, and that we're not discriminating in hiring process and in hiring practices on the basis of like systemic racism, systemic sexism, so on and so forth. So fucking what? That's
yeah.
Good.
So what we have to do next is we have to go in and actually see what those trainings look like, right? So if we look at the Smithsonian had this teaching of what quote unquote white culture is. Have you seen this before, Dean?
No, but I do know that per Trump's directive, he's taking out teachings of what quote-unquote black culture is by absolutely undermining and eroding the teaching of slavery, the teaching of systemic racism, and how black Americans have been treated historically throughout this country's history due to the oppression of institutions with the legalization of slavery, so on and so forth. Right? I do know that Donald Trump took that out of the Smithsonian, but I mean, that's not what you're saying. So what are you saying?
Why did it just say I got muted? That was kind of odd. So what I'm saying is, one, well, if you think that slavery is black culture, I mean, I was never a slave, so I don't know why you would automatically think black culture is slavery. But
I think what I meant to say was black history. My apologies.
Yeah, you're good. I mean, like, I don't believe a race can have a culture. That's why, like, in 2021, a race can't have a culture. Like, what is your culture, Dean? What do you do as a white man?
Okay. Well, listen, before we have that discussion, I want you to finish out what you're telling me about how the directives implemented per this executive order by the Biden-Harris administration and federal agencies ended up being incredibly unfair and bad.
Yeah, so this is white culture. This is put out by the Smithsonian back in, what year was this? This was 2021. The white culture, assumptions in white culture is that there's rugged individualism. The nuclear family, father, mother, 2.3 children is the ideal social unit. It also says that follow rigid time schedules, time viewed as commodity, being on time and being perfectionist. Do you not think that black people can do this? Like, would you say that this is like something that only white people are able to obtain to?
It's saying that white culture is being timely?
Yeah, okay. It's right here.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. Get it out of here. What does this have to do with our conversation about?
This is what DEI does. This is what DEI creates. It creates racism.
Wait. You were telling me You were telling me that the directives of the Biden-Harris executive order that they signed in on day one just had to do with promoting like more opportunity in hiring practices to combat systemic oppression, systemic racism, and like denying, for instance, a black individual a job because they're black, right? Pertaining to hiring practices. Now you're trying to say because some random website says that white culture is being timely, that this has absolutely anything to do with the executive order signed into law by Biden and Harris surrounding like just ensuring that when federal government agencies are like hiring people, they can't discriminate against minorities? What?
Well, this isn't a random website, Dean. This is the National Smithsonian.
Okay, yeah, I'd have to look into more like why the Smithsonian published that. I mean, it's interesting.
It's racist, right?
But I don't think that
right?
has anything to do with the Biden-Harris executive order about combating racism and hiring.
Well, this is what Section B, what I was telling you about in subsection 7B. Subsection 7B was talking about the fact that...
I have a question. When was that published?
This was published in 2021.
What month?
I don't remember. It just says 2021.
Where can I find that?
The Smithsonian.
Okay.
You type in white culture Smithsonian.
Where specifically do I find it?
Yeah, type in white culture, aspects and assumptions of whiteness and white culture, the Smithsonian.
Oh, aspects and assumptions?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, if it's talking about the assumptions of white culture, well, I mean, I think that's probably like a little bit more like informative than anything. Wait, actually, sorry. Scratch that. You lied about it being published in 2021.
Okay, when was it published, Dean?
I found a tweet talking about the same graphic that you're showing to me right now, published in July of 2020.
Okay, so our Smithsonian publishes this?
Holy shit. Wow. Wow, so this actually was, at least to the best, to my best knowledge, published in July of 2020 under Donald Trump's first administration.
Okay.
Oh, so you're saying that the Trump administration published something racist on Smithsonian?
I guess so, then.
Okay.
It's fine.
Then your whole, wait, it's fine now that you think Trump did it?
No, what I'm saying is I'm glad that he got rid of it. He found the error of his ways because this was still going around up until he took office.
Wait. You're telling me that he got rid of it by repealing an executive order signed into law by Biden in 2021, even though this was present on the Smithsonian website in 2020? What the fuck?
Yeah, I can show you.
Wait, are you saying that this executive order of the Biden-Harris administration fucking time traveled and published an article or something on the Smithsonian website like a year before it was signed into law?
Not at all what I'm saying.
Okay, well then obviously him like taking down some executive order signed into law by the Biden-Harris administration that just seriously promoted like more equality in hiring practices to combat racial and race, gender, and sex-based discrimination in hiring practices had absolutely nothing to do with this publication from the Smithsonian whatsoever.
Yeah, so I think you're steel manning my position. You said more words than I have. And so like I haven't even gotten a chance to like say what I've actually been meaning to say for a minute now.
But the fact of the matter is what you're showing me with the Smithsonian article has nothing to do with the Biden-Harris administration signing an executive order into law, nor anything to do with Donald Trump signing another executive order into law to repeal their original executive order, as this was published before both the Biden-Harris administration signed their executive order into law and published before Donald Trump signed another executive order into law to repeal it.
So do you admit to steel manning my position? Because I haven't said anything yet.
I mean, I admit to absolutely refuting the hell out of it.
I mean, if that's what your way of saying steel man, I'll consider that a concession.
I'm so sorry.
So,
what are you asking of me?
Yeah, I'm asking you to say that you've been steel manning my position. I haven't even been able to make or assert a claim yet.
Okay. So I think that I am refuting the claims that you've already made, such as when you attempted to argue that the Biden-Harris administration caused the Smithsonian to publish this by signing executive order number 13985 into law, right?
No, so the claim that
by the Smithsonian before that.
No, so the claim that I made is, wow, thank you guys. The claim that I made is that these teachings were used as a part of DEI trainings. Like, how can you teach that white culture is being on time for things? I don't believe a race has a culture. I believe black people can.
What does this have to do with Donald Trump's executive order repealing a Biden-Harris executive order?
Yes. So again, this is telling you that this was what they assumed white culture to be, saying that blacks couldn't strive to have this.
What does this have to do with Trump's executive order that you were parading as the massive big accomplishment that you really liked of his administration?
You and I are both speaking English to each other. I don't know how you're not comprehending.
I don't know how you're comprehending what I'm asking you. I asked you, what has Donald Trump done to combat DEI? You direct me to an executive order that he signed on day one, ending an executive order signed into law by the Biden-Harris administration. What the fuck does this Smithsonian thing? What does this have to do with this executive order?
So the Smithsonian, a governmental institution, was teaching that this is what white culture is.
What does that have to do with Donald Trump's executive order?
I can't even finish the fucking thought, Dean.
Just tell me what it has to do with Trump's executive order.
Okay, I will if you let me get to the thought.
Awesome, do it, please.
So when you, yeah, I got you, brother. So when you take this out of training, which Donald Trump's executive order did, when you take this out of training,
wrong.
How is it? I haven't even finished the sentence.
Well,
Dean.
you're
How
already
can it be
wrong.
wrong if I can't even finish the sentence?
Yeah, because Donald Trump's executive order had nothing to do with the Smithsonian or this article, considering the fact that this article existed before the executive order that Biden signed into law that Donald Trump's executive order repealed. You understand that all Donald Trump's executive order on the issue did was it repealed the executive order signed into law by the Biden-Harris administration on January 21st, 2021. But because this article didn't exist because of the Biden executive order, as it was literally on the Smithsonian website before that executive order existed in reality at all, then it did not impact or influence anything to do with whatever the reporting from the Smithsonian is that you're showing me. By the way, I'd have to look more into into the reporting from the Smithsonian. I don't really know what you're showing me, but all that I'm arguing is that it has absolutely nothing to do at all with Donald Trump's executive order repealing an executive order from the Biden-Harris administration signed into law after the Smithsonian published whatever this thing is about, the assumptions of whiteness and white culture under Donald Trump in his first term.
Yes, so this racist article was used as a teaching model within the federal government to show that black people could not equate to the standards and qualities of white people. Now, like I stated before, I don't believe a race can have a culture. You would agree as well that a race cannot have a culture, right?
Races having or not having cultures has absolutely nothing to do with our conversation in the slightest about you arguing that Donald Trump is a good president because he repealed an executive order signed into law by Biden, just simply stating that we shouldn't be able to discriminate on the basis of race when hiring. Stop pivoting.
How can I pivot if I've stated the same exact point since the moment I got up here?
You haven't stated the same exact point. Your first claim was that you really support Donald Trump as president because he signed this awesome executive order into law combating DEI. I was like, okay, what Trump executive order are you talking about? We load it up, we read it together. All Donald Trump's executive order did was repealed the executive order number 13985 from the Biden-Harris administration. Are you following and in agreement so far?
Yes, I'm in agreement so far.
Awesome. You're following and in agreement so far. Therefore, the original point of argumentation here that you really wanted to hit home to argue that Trump is a great president was that he did something great when he repealed executive order number 13985 from Biden and Harris. Okay? Question, and this is going to demonstrate the lack of relevance of your follow-up questions as well as the Smithsonian infographic that we see on screen right now. Does the Smithsonian infographic exist because of the Biden-Harris executive order number 13985?
That had nothing to do with my claim.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with your claim because it wasn't caused by executive order number 13985?
No, it was not.
Okay, great. So because this has no bearing, no relationship, no causal factors whatsoever in relationship to executive order number 13985 signed into law by Biden, then I'm going to turn your fucking camera off and I'm going to ask you to get back on track. Once again, why do you think that Trump overturning executive order number 13985 by the Biden-Harris administration was a really good thing, which was the original point in which you were arguing?
Yes, so when you just turned off my camera, the infographic that we had on screen was utilized as a teaching method within the federal government to ascertain that races have different cultures. As we both know, black people can do exactly what is on this infographic.
Where does it talk about that infographic in the slightest in the Biden executive order?
If we go to 13985, like we've just said, and then we looked at section B underneath where it says the administrator of the U.S. Digital Service, the United States Chief Technology Officer, the Chief Information Officer of the United States, and the heads of other agencies or the designees shall take necessary actions consistent with applicable law to support agencies in developing such plans.
Keyword such
that
plans.
was a part of the plan.
Keyword such
that
plans.
was the plan, Dean.
Okay. Well,
Yes,
actually,
Dean.
okay. Well, the plan would be detailed before section section 7b in the executive order. So show me where in section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, right, it says that the Smithsonian graphic that you just showed on screen is a part of the plan. Where does it say that?
That's a straw man, Dean.
It's
Dean,
not.
you're straw man.
It's not a straw man
Yes,
in the
it is.
slightest, because you argued that it was a part of the plan. That plan being detailed by this executive order. The plan is the executive order. So where in the executive order does it reference the Smithsonian infographic?
Dean, you know who also muted people was slave owners.
Well, you know who's running from a fucking argument right now? You. Why can't you just answer the question? Where in section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 does it mention this goddamn Smithsonian infographic that you keep on putting on screen?
Yeah, I've been saying this the whole time. It's not the
Also, what the fuck was that comment about slave owners? What the fuck are you even saying, dude?
Because you keep muting me, and all I say, I count my words. I've been saying 10 words at a time max. And you just mute me. And then you steal me in a position. You just ask questions and then you mute. And then you make a whole new point that I haven't made.
Okay, what it sounds like you're doing right now is that you're obviously losing the debate, so you're trying to engage in meta conversation surrounding my conduct in the debate. Once again, I would really appreciate it if you could focus on the substance rather than the rhetoric. Once again, the substance is the fact that you are arguing that the application of this random fucking Smithsonian graphic that was posted by Trump under his first administration has anything to do with the proposed plan that was signed into law to combat racial discrimination and hiring-based practices in federal agencies per the executive order. I'm simply asking you, where in the plan per the executive order can I read that infographic was a part of it?
Yeah, you would have to talk to the actual employees of the federal government that, like I did, that were having to sit underneath trainings to figure out that this graphic that the Smithsonian had published that was very racist was being implied in the job descriptions that blacks somehow could not equate to whites.
I mean, I don't even understand that sentence. You're saying that before you had to get hired, so because of this Biden executive order, before you had to get hired at a federal agency, you had to study that Smithsonian graphic? Is that what you're arguing?
Correct. Yes, this is what I'm saying, Dean.
Okay, give me
Thank you
evidence.
for finally tracking. Thank you for finally tracking.
Okay, now give me evidence of that, please.
I just told you you would have to talk to the federal government workers that were having to sit through these trainings.
Okay, could you please point me towards one of these federal government workers?
Do you want me to get my friend on the line or something?
I mean, I just want evidence that what you're saying here is true. You're just saying that, oh, you've talked to people. It's just to trust me, bro.
Okay, so do I need to pull up a federal government worker?
I just need you to pull up evidence, whatever that looks like. I need you to provide me with a consistent evidence-based argument that because of Biden-Harris Executive Order number 13985, that new hirees at federal governments were taught that white people are timely.
Yeah, so Dean, you are arguing in bad faith. You know DEI is not a standardized practice. It is dependent on the agencies that are within, right? You know that.
Yeah, I'm asking you to demonstrate that this is true about literally even one federal agency. And by the way, this was a standardized executive order, meaning it would have actually been standardized in accordance with the rules and regulations of this executive order for federal agencies. So you're wrong.
How am I wrong? What do you mean? Explain how I'm wrong, Dean.
Yeah, for sure, because this would have been a standardized practice amongst federal agencies per the words of the executive order.
No, it says they have to support agencies in developing such plans. So it doesn't even say that the plans are universal.
That's the standardized practice, would be in developing plans in alignment with the goal of the executive order.
So Dean, show me in this executive order where it says that it would be a universal plan.
Well, it's not the universal individual plans for the agencies. It's the universal push towards the standardization of plans to reduce racial discrimination in hiring. I think that you're confusing.
Oh, so it isn't universal. Like I just stated, it would depend on the agencies in which they develop such plans.
I think that you're just simply misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying what is universal, what is standardized, is the push for the agencies to act in accordance with the executive order to reduce race-based discrimination in hiring process and hiring practices. I never argued that all of the federal agencies would have the same exact plan for the goal. I'm just simply telling you that in accordance with the executive order, all of the federal agencies would have the same goal. Right? That goal being clearly detailed by the executive order.
Why do you keep muting me, Massa? I haven't even been saying anything. I haven't even been talking over you.
Did you just call me bro? Dude, my name is Dean. Thank you so much. Stop being engage with the substance of the debate or get kicked.
Yeah, but you're muting me like a slave.
Jesus fucking Christ. So, Dean is a quote-unquote racist slave owner for muting his guests when they interrupt me, but Donald Trump is a non-racist perfect president, even though he called all black people lazy in the 90s and told everybody to not vote for Obama since because he was black, that means he was born in Africa. Holy fucking shit, you have to be rage baiting.
Wait. When did he say that? Oh, okay, so Obama being born in Africa or alluding to the fact that he may not be a United States citizen is somehow racist, even though our Constitution... No. So wait, the Constitution outlines that you have to be a U.S. citizen to run for president, correct?
Right, which is one of the facts insofar as why it was racist, because it was attempting to limit the job opportunity of a black man by arguing that he shouldn't be eligible for the job by implying that he was not born in America, right, likely because of the color of his skin, even though he'd provided a birth certificate from Hawaii. But before we move on, right, because now you're attempting to try to pivot away from the last point, I want you to point me towards any evidence that implied that because of the Biden executive order number 13985, right, there was like particular like federal agencies that like required their employees to think that white people are timely.
So, Dean, you made two assertions on my character. I haven't over-talked you, and number two, you're saying that I pivoted. You just brought up the accusation of two instances of how Donald Trump was racist. I didn't do those, so I couldn't pivot because I didn't bring up those claims.
So that was in response to me saying that you're calling me literally a racist slave owner because I muted you because you interrupted me, but then you turn around in support of Donald Trump, who's done all these miscellaneous racist things, right? That was obviously, right, a comment to demonstrate your rage-bait, hypocritical nature in response to you calling me fucking massa, right? Now, if you want to talk about the merits of those claims individually, we could happily do that after you finish in response to my first question when I asked you to provide evidence that federal fucking agencies are like requiring people to think that white people are timely per Biden's executive order number 13985.
Yes, so this article that was utilized as a teaching or as a quote unquote method of teaching was then used to substitute within the trainings of federal workplaces of what black people actually go through. It was utilized as a way to say that, hey, black people may need a little bit of extra assistance. Also, when you just made those...
Give me evidence of that. I don't believe you.
Okay, so how can I give you evidence without bringing in somebody from the federal government?
So you're saying that somebody in the federal government has told you this? Sure, have them come up here and tell us that. Sure, just give your evidence.
Okay, so Yankee, I know you're watching. Yankee, would you like to come up? You were a Navy man. Did you go through this DEI training?
Wait, so now you're saying in order to literally be in the Navy, you have to think that like black people are not timely? Dude, come on. Like, this is obviously like insane. Nobody believes this.
You saw how racist that ad was, right? You saw that, right?
What I'm understanding is that I absolutely do not think that you have any evidence in the world that in order to be like one of the millions of military servicemen or women, you must like sit down and be indoctrinated into thinking that white people are timely and black people need more help because they're not timely. Dude, that would have been the biggest fucking headline for years under the Biden-Harris administration if it was true. And you can't even point me towards one data point of evidence to suggest that what you're telling us is true. Like, come on. Everybody knows that you're just telling us like blatant lies that have no evidence to substantiate them as being true, and likely rage baited.
So wait a second. You told me to bring somebody in that went through this training. Now you're telling me because the news didn't cover this story that somehow I have to be lying.
I'm just telling you, because the news didn't cover the story, because this wasn't a headline from one publisher, and you're suggesting that millions of people in the military had to sit down and indoctrinated into thinking that white people are timely and black people aren't, is definitely a little bit of a fire inductive argument to reason my way to the conclusion that you're definitely not telling the truth. Absolutely. Especially considering the fact that you can't provide me with any evidence to demonstrate that what you're saying is true.
Okay, so Joker 1911, he's in the queue. He was a Navy man. He went through this training, so you can bring him up, and he can tell you that what I'm saying is 100% accurate.
Okay, let's go to get this Joker guy up here. Let's go to get them loaded in. Did the stream just get banned? Oh no, it didn't get banned. Are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, no worries. I thought that the stream got banned. Okay, we're also gonna bring Santana up, and where is, you said Yanks 13? Who are you talking about?
Yeah, Joker 1911.
Joker 1911. Okay.
Hey, Slayer.
What's up?
Why are you up here being disingenuous?
Am I being disingenuous, Santana?
Dean's dog walking you in, so now you're trying to rage bait. Come on now, you're better than that.
Dude,
I'm getting dog walked?
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
I was being accused of... Okay, wait, I'm being accused of interrupting somebody when I've been having the same demeanor this whole time?
Yeah, the whole massa comment and muting, you said, slave owners muted the slaves as well. Come on now, you're being completely disingenuous.
How is that being disingenuous? I've had the same demeanor this whole talk.
Your demeanor has nothing to do with your actual words.
I was just accused of the fact that I was interrupting Dean. I haven't interrupted him once.
Also, I've been looking for this actual DEIA, not DEI, DEIA training that you're saying that the military has gone through. And Dean, while I've found no actual documented proof that DEIA is a training that the military has to go through, I have found an actual talking point from the Heritage Foundation that talks about how corrupting influence of DEI on the military's education. And so literally the Heritage Foundation has been talking about this very topic, but even looking for multiple sources, the only thing close that I could find to it is the Cato Institute talking about why the military should actually utilize DEIA.
Listen.
They did actually, and it was the Marine Corps Slayer, by the way. It wasn't the fucking Navy, dude.
So Santana, the reason I wanted to bring you up, Santana, is because I know that you talk a lot about DEI, and you're honestly like significantly more educated on DEI than I am, and I wanted to ensure that, you know, like having this conversation in front of like literally thousands and thousands of people, right? We're having the most accurate information suggested. Now, right, in consideration of that fact, we now have this guy's friend named Joker up, and Joker is apparently the evidence for everything that this guy has been saying. One second.
I was an admin.
Allow me to finish. So, just to catch everyone up to speed, Rage down here is making the claim that because of the Biden-Harris administration, if you wanted to join the military or work for any federal agency, then you had to be sit down by one of your superiors and indoctrinated into thinking that white people are timely and black people aren't timely. Therefore, they might need a little bit extra help. So, Joker, by the way, no posts, no reposts, no saves, 2 followers and 1 following, that 1 following being this guy.
Dean, you blocked my main accounts because I would get opposition, and you blocked me from your main account, or my main account. You blocked both my backup and my main because I was getting opposition.
If I blocked you because you were
I never talked. Yeah, I don't know if it was your mods, but I never talked in the comments opposition, but I got blocked. So
dude, there is very like rare and special circumstances where like I will get fed up enough to literally block people that like gift the opposition, and that's when the opposition is like literally saying that they're okay with rape. So I wonder who you were gifting. No. But anyways, no, please tell us.
You try to gaslight me all you want.
Were you sat down by like one of your superiors in the military and told to think that because of Biden and Harris, that white people are timely and black people aren't timely, and you might need to help them out a little bit more?
No, it was never like that. We're talking about basically the promotion system here, because each rank had a certain number of people that could be promoted at a time. And in order for commanders or, lieutenants and captains to not look like they were discriminating, they would have to pick a certain amount of females and a certain amount of
you actually
ethnic groups.
So it just seems like now
I wrote the
so now it seems like you're making like a totally new claim that Rage isn't making. So Rage, remember, you told me that you like had evidence for your claim that people were being taught because of that Biden executive order that black people
were taught
and white people are timely.
That's why this is why commanders actually they specifically picked minorities to promote more, so it didn't look bad on them, because they were taught that if they showed they were taught that any sense of discrimination would get them demoted. Any type of, it could be something very little. Race and segregation and discrimination is taken very seriously.
I need you to listen to me. I need you to listen to me. You are making a totally different claim than what Rage made. And when Rage said you should bring Joker up, it was in response to me asking Rage what his evidence was that because of Biden's executive order, right, if you worked at federal agencies, you had to sit down and be indoctrinated by some fucking graphic that told you white people are timely, and because of that, black people aren't timely. Therefore, you need to help black people out a little bit more. So Rage...
We didn't have that, no.
Oh, fuck! Okay. God damn.
It wasn't to that specific.
God damn, bro. All right. Go ahead, Santana. But before you do.
Even to his point, literally, because there has been such a decline as far as minorities, women, people of color getting promoted within the military, there has been a shift to what's called a colorblind system, where they actually remove the actual information, and they take an effective approach to try to eliminate biases, where they're just looking at the actual promotional package, and they remove all identifying information. Literally, the United States military, to ensure that they are not giving anyone preferable treatment, they are literally moving to a system where they remove identifiers and just stack it up against each other. At least that's what they were doing before the Trump administration. So that completely negates what he was saying.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, like, so even in, right, like the original context of why I even brought him up, which was to apparently, right, have like him serve as Rage's evidence that if you worked in these agencies, you had to think that white people are timely. Rage, how do you feel about the fact that when I just asked him if what you were saying was true, he said it wasn't, and that has never happened to him, even though you said that he was going to be your evidence?
Yeah, I don't think you let him finish his full thought. That's what I think.
No, he just straight up said that it wasn't something that he experienced, wasn't something that happened to him.
Yeah, he said that it was integrated. You just heard him when he said that they were talking about the promotions, and then you didn't let him finish, and you kicked him off.
That was a completely and totally different claim. I don't know like what's so confusing about this, so I'm going to make it super
not
simple.
Confused, brother.
You are very confused, brother, and I'm going to tell you exactly how. Because you made the claim that because of this Biden-Harris era executive order, if you're going to be going into a federal agency, you had to be sit down and taught this infographic that's telling you white people are timely and black people aren't, and how racist that is. And I was like, dude, that is like absolutely insanely untrue. You absolutely would not be able to demonstrate any evidence that what you're saying is true 110%. And then you were like, yeah, I can provide you evidence that what I'm saying about this infographic here is true. That evidence would be somebody that I know that works for one of these federal agencies. And also, for everybody in the chat saying that you cut him off, you didn't let him finish. I'm
did.
So sorry. Yeah, I didn't let him finish because he said what you're saying was false. Why would I let him? Literally. Like why? What was the purpose being allowing him to finish? To make like an entirely new claim from a new person about a new argument when the only reason he was supposed to be on the stream in the first place was to come up here and justify what you were saying?
Exactly.
Come on, bro. Yeah,
what's the point of having him here?
Listen, yeah, tell Joker or whatever the hell his name is to get in the queue to become one of the other Trump supporters to maybe debate me after I finish debating you.
Okay,
right?
Santana, Massa has muted me twice now. Like, are we gonna tap dance and let Massa?
Slayer, stop it, because I mute you and you've never called me Massa. You've literally never done that. And how many times have I muted you?
I've been on your panel twice, Santana.
And how many times have I muted you?
Never.
How many times have I muted?
Never. You've never muted
Slayer.
me.
I've muted you on my panel. I've muted you on other panels. I've never heard you say that towards any other creator. No black creators, but for some reason you're doing this right now because you're in the space with a white creator. Stop being disingenuous.
Santana, I don't think you would hear when Dean said that black culture was slavery.
Okay, I didn't even say that. Now you're attempting to like misrepresent things that I said. Like, dude, you were fucking vile for that shit. Like, dude, what the hell are you doing? You are embarrassing yourself so fucking badly to the extent where now you have to be like super hyperbolic, absolutely insane, misrepresent, and like falsely conject that I said things I didn't. That is embarrassing for you. Is this really the route that you want to take?
What are we doing, Slayer?
Get absolutely
You're better than this.
Cooked in a debate, and then like, you know, like try to like tell the crowds that I said something I didn't. Completely disingenuous. Right now, Ray,
Dean.
I want to ask you, do you understand why I kicked Joker?
No, I really don't. Even the chat doesn't know.
Okay, do you want me to explain it to you?
Sure, go ahead. It's not going to change the outcome.
It's because I asked you to provide evidence for your claim. You said that your evidence would be somebody that you know that works for a federal agency. I had him up here. He told me that it had never happened to him. He served his purpose and I kicked him.
Got it. So you intentionally didn't let him finish his claim. You cut him off and then you kicked him. You just wanted a gotcha moment.
Wait,
Slayer.
Wait, 1 second. I just want to clarify. He did finish his claim. He did say that had never happened to him, right?
No. He was in the middle of stating how it was applying to the promotions and what was taught in them. And you were like, boo.
Oh, but keep in mind.
That wasn't the claim,
Yeah, but
Slayer.
that wasn't the claim. You made the claim that individuals were being served an infographic where they were being taught that white people were timely and black people weren't timely.
Yes.
Yes, I told you that they've gotten the training from this infographic.
Yes,
100%.
you said that training occurred. He came up and said that was not a thing, but they actually went through a promotion system where they tried to make it seem as if they were promoting people of color, so there
And
wouldn't be any type
then-
of judgment.
Right.
That has nothing to do with your
Wait,
claim. That was
Santana,
not
and
your
then-
claim.
wait,
Like
Santana-
Slayer, that's not your claim.
Right, like,
are you changing your claim now?
Yeah, like Slayer, like could you be like intellectually honest and like tell me why he was even on the stream in the first place? Like what was he on the stream for? Was he on the stream to make like a new argument? Or was he on the stream to apparently be your evidence for your argument?
Thank you for unmuting me, boss. Like I was saying, you told me to provide evidence,
For what?
and I did.
Provide evidence for
Yes,
what?
for the claim that this infographic was utilized as a part of the teaching, as a part of 13985.
Exactly.
Correct? We're tracking, right? As a part of 13985.
I didn't mute you.
That was me that time, Slayer.
Dude.
What do you think about that one?
Yeah,
I think you're tap dancing for massa now.
Stop being disingenuous.
So far, Slayer, everything that you've said is accurate, right? The reason he was up was to provide evidence for your claim that this infographic was being used to teach people in the military that white people are timely and black people aren't. I have a question. When I asked him if he even knew about this infographic or if he'd been like sat down and been told this infographic when he was hiring, what did he say?
He said no.
So
then what's the point of him being here?
Perfect.
He wasn't getting to it, and then y'all both cut him off.
Wait, are you saying he was going to pull a no but yes?
He was going to pull a explaining where the context of this graphic comes into play.
Oh, so he was going to pull like a no but yes.
Sure, if you want to call it that, why not?
But
Okay, let's
even
get
if
it
there
back up
was
here.
quote unquote context,
Go ahead, Santana.
even if there was quote unquote context, it still does not negate the point that you made. The actual claim that you made is not true. It's not accurate. Now, can you concede on the point that you made before he pivots to something different?
Sure, if we want to concede upon that point, why not?
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So thank you for admitting that you made a baseless claim with no
It's not
evidence.
baseless.
What's the base?
The base is the fact that this graphics told you that white people are the only people that can be on time, and that the trainings that partake in the military.
Yeah, where are we getting the base for that this was like used to train people in the military? What's the evidence for that?
If you bring the fucking guy up, Dean.
Oh, sure. Yeah, hop back in the queue. So maybe he's going to say that he personally never was taught this graphic, but like other people were? Yeah, sure. Where can I find him?
Yeah, Joker 1911. You just had him up here.
Okay, could you tell him to get back in the queue?
Sure, give me 1 second.
Yeah, make sure to text him and make sure to tell him to like find a way to explain this infographic. Make sure you tell him to like bring up the infographic.
Why would I have somebody lie for me? That's weird.
Well, I mean,
It's not that
I
you
would've
had
put it
someone
past
to
you.
come up to actually lie for you. You had someone to come up to pivot for you. That's actually what just happened.
okay. So I invited Joker up and he actually just left. He loaded it in and then left.
He said that he was in the queue.
Okay. We'll try again.
Maybe he was on at the same time.
He's connecting. There he is. Hey, Joker. So, I mean, just to clarify, before I kicked you, you told us that, like, you never had to learn that white people are timely and black people aren't, right?
It wasn't that specific example before you kicked me.
Okay, so
But we did learn about differences between how, white people are, more privileged than minorities. And we had to sit down in a meeting in a group talk and actually talk about that to understand where our service members, our brothers and sisters in arms, and where they come from. But it was never about, white people or where they came from.
Good.
Wait, so you went through a... I'm sorry, go ahead, Dean.
Like white people.
No, I was just about to say, wait, Joker, so you went through a biased training?
Yes, to me it was extremely biased.
Yeah, no. An actual bias, a bias training. Literally every company in the country makes you do those types of training. That's literally just a biasy training.
Right.
Sure, but
that's
also very
standard practice.
But like now, I want to hone in. Joker, I want to make it clear. I'm not here to debate you. I'm here to debate Slayer. However, Slayer's claim was that people in the military are being taught that white people are timely and that black people are not timely. And then when I was like, hey, Slayer, do you have any evidence for this? He pointed to you.
Well, we were taught that, it's people of color or minority groups that came from these backgrounds. Like it was like an assumption on culture, which is kind of fucked up, and that we need to treat them like kind of like respect their color almost, even though we don't ever look at each other as color. It's all the same color. It's all green.
Okay, so
it's kind of weird when they started implementing those policies. But here's what's crazy about it: when we were doing this training,
one second, Joker. We're not here to allow you to rant about like really good like bias training, where you sat down and you talked to other individuals about where they came from, where you came from. We're here to talk about if Slayer's claim was true or not. So I just want to be clear. I'm going to ask a very specific and direct question. Do you have any knowledge whatsoever, specifically, right, about this infographic that Slayer showed us being forcefully taught to new hirees, right, in the military, with the takeaway being that white people are timely and black people are not timely? Do you have any specific knowledge?
It was a different example than that, but I mean, it was very similar to that.
I'm just asking you, listen, do you have any specific knowledge of what Rager said about the Smithsonian infographic being forcefully taught to everybody in the military about how black people are not timely and white people
You're
are?
strawmanning right now, honestly, and it's honestly ridiculous because because the example...
Answer my goddamn question, Joker.
The example is different doesn't mean it's not.
It absolutely changes everything. Because Joker, your purpose on this panel is literally just to serve as evidence for Slayer's claim. I'm not going to let you push me around like that. Okay? The fact of the matter is, shut down. The fact of the matter is, Slayer, or whatever the hell his name is, made the claim that because of Biden's executive order, this infographic is being shoved down the throats of people in federal agencies where they're being taught that white people are timely and black people aren't. I asked Slayer what his evidence was, and he said his evidence was you. You, sir, are not here to debate me. You, sir, are here to be evidence for Slayer's claim. I'm not debating you. If you want to debate me, get in line. You are only on this live because Slayer said that you're here as evidence for his claim. So, sir, do you have any awareness whatsoever of this infographic that Slayer was showing to us, like saying that white people are timely and black people are not timely? And was this taught to you or anybody that you know in the military with the use of the infographic that he showed?
It was a similar infographic.
Okay. Yes
so
or
the
no
answer's
question?
No.
Is the answer no?
So the answer's no.
It's to the point.
No. So the answer's no.
Is the answer no?
No, not that one specifically.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Joker, you were literally a trust me, bro, and you couldn't even be trusted.
Dean asked for a trust.
You were a trust me, bro, that couldn't be trusted.
Okay. Back to you, Slayer. You said that you had evidence that this infographic was being taught to people to attempt to convince them that white people are timely and black people are not timely. You told me that your evidence was this random guy named Joker that I brought up to confirm and verify your claim. He said that he has no clue what your claim is about, and he was never personally taught that, and he doesn't know anybody else that was either. So what is your evidence that people in federal agencies were sat down, shown this infographic, and told to think that white people are timely and black people aren't?
He just told you before you booted him that it wasn't the exact graphic, but he was taught that white people are timely. And then he
said that he went through a biasy training. He literally said that he went through a biasy training, which is a standard training, Slayer. Stop it. Everyone goes through biasy trainings.
Santana, biasy training. Wait. Santana, biasy training and saying white people have privilege are not biases. Like, that's the most absurd thing ever.
1 second. I'm so sorry. Okay. He did not say that he was taught that white people are timely. In fact, he said that he wasn't.
Yeah, he did.
He agreed when I said, so you went through a biasy training? Slayer, I said, so you're telling me you went through a biasy training? He said, yes, I went through a biasy training.
Okay.
About privilege. That's not biasy training, Santana.
Listen, Slayer, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up, man.
Sure.
I want you to provide me a single source, right, from any reputable institution, reputable media outlet, reporting that people in the military are taught that white people are timely and black people aren't timely.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like, I haven't researched into news organizations, so if you want to rap, we can rap.
Is there any reporting? Is there any verification for your claim whatsoever?
I just told you I had people in the service that told me this. I haven't looked into it in any news article.
Yeah, he came up and said otherwise.
Yeah. So
So
he
you,
told
I
you
just want
that
to clarify that you have no verifiable independent evidence that this is true whatsoever.
just told you that part of the argument was in there, and that you said it has to be the exact infographic. And if your contingency,
No, I just want to clarify. Do you have any verifiable independent evidence that people in the military are taught that white people are timely and black people aren't?
yeah. So you just told. Yeah, he just told you what?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, he didn't tell us that. But even he did tell us
No,
that.
he
That
said
would be
the
verifiable and
infographics.
independent.
Wait, he just told you the infographic, and before you kicked him, his last words were it was a different graphic that was taught that.
Okay, first and foremost, I'm going to repeat this one last time. I specifically asked him not just about the infographic, but if he or anybody else was taught that white people are timely and black people are not timely. And then to that, he responded, no, right? But he was like something similar, talking about white privilege and like where we come from, which isn't similar at all, right? Because one is racist, one isn't racist. Now, I'm also going to clarify here that even if he did say that this was something that he was taught, it wouldn't be verifiable nor independent. Right? So I'm asking you for verifiable independent evidence that this thing is taught to service members. How many service members are there?
Thousands.
Many more than that, sir. Why is he the only person supposedly talking about this?
Dude, I don't have a million military friends. Why is this the hill you want to unalive on?
Why is there no documented proof of it?
Why is there no Yes, exactly. Where's the documented proof for this occurring?
I guess it wouldn't look right if the administration is telling you that only white people can be on time for things. Do you really think that that's something the news wants to cover? This leftist media that we live in?
You know, you can access like different military trainings, like certain standards and trainings they have. You know, you can get access to know those things. Like that's documented information.
Right. Then, by the way,
you mean like through a FOIA request? Then
also, just by the way, if what you're saying was true, we would see people talking about this. Absolutely. Okay. Fox News would be running rampant with it. Elon Musk, Elon Musk loves to talk about, quote unquote, like how the left is so disingenuous and hypocritical. Elon Musk would be tweeting about this every day. Like Trump would have made this a campaigning point for him. He would have said, the left, the same party that started slavery, is now perpetuating racism to this very day. They want you to think that black people are lazy and that white people are timely. Just look at the terrible policy of Biden and Harris and how it causes in the military. We didn't see that from him. We didn't see that from Elon. We didn't see that from Fox. We didn't see that from Newsmax. We didn't see that from anybody. And we even didn't hear it from this guy in the military with 2 followers that you had me bring on live that in fact testified, although he's your friend, although he has a bias towards you, but he's never seen this goddamn infographic in his goddamn life. So quite frankly, Slayer, right now, you are getting absolutely fucking destroyed in the context of this debate as you were proponing a position with no evidence, no support, and it is embarrassing. I'm kind of done with this because I think that you, him, and a lot of the other Trump supporters watching the live in the chat right now have been trying to convince me that I'm going crazy for thinking that you have not successfully demonstrated your point to be bearing of evidence. So I'm going to give you exactly one last chance to do that before I kick you and move on.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I got a new infographic. Hold on.
Sure. While Lee pulls it out, I just want to call to the attention that, like, literally, quick Google search, I was able to find the U.S. Naval Institute, their biasy training. The training was created by Lieutenant Commander David Esselback of the U.S. Navy. This was created in July of 2021. It's volume 147/7/1, comma 421. And it gives the information, the premise as far as why it's needed, the point of the actual biasy training, the different points that are highlighted, and the resources behind the actual training. So literally, no, you don't need a FOIA to actually find out the biasy trainings that the military has. It's easily acceptable.
Dude, this guy's getting fucking destroyed. Oh my God. It's kind of satisfying. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I kind of started to feel a little gaslit there. You know, like he was
that's what Slayer does.
He was like trying to convince me that like he had evidence for what he was saying. So are you like you're just making shit up, dude?
I'm not making anything up, Massa. I've just been muted all the time, and I
Come
think you're
on,
excited
Slayer.
because
Dude,
Get off of it,
now
dude.
you're back to calling me quote unquote Massa and complaining about
You
me.
just mute me, Massa. I want to
dude.
respect you, Massa.
Again, I muted you and you didn't call me. Why am I not Massa?
You were a tap dancer. I didn't call you Massa.
Okay.
Though.
Okay. So I'm a tap dancer because I muted you.
Yeah, you were following Massa's lead. Massa
Fuck out
did
of
it
here,
first.
Slayer. Stop it.
Love you, Santana.
You're
Bye, you guys.
getting cooked.
Wait,
and
why are
so
you
now
leaving?
You're trying to pivot.
He left. Oh my god. Dude, that one was rough.
Oh.
That one was rough. I'm not going to lie. So I think that we get like a bunch of different guests up on this live. Like, obviously. Right, obviously. And like different Trump supporters are either like especially like tolerable for some reasons. Like maybe somebody's coming up here with an open mind. They want to have a good dialogue. Other Trump supporters are like especially like intolerable for other reasons, you know, like, or like the first debate of the day, we had some like crazy dude up that was just like interrupting me every sentence, total pseudo intellectual, completely intolerable. That's like one flavor of the MAGA intolerability. But I feel like this is a new flavor of MAGA intolerability that I really haven't come across before, where they are making shit up that is just so detached from reality, has like no grounding in anything that's true. Not even like kind of true, but not all the way true. Like Donald Trump would say like, oh, the inflation under Biden was caused by Biden. That was half true because we had inflation under Biden. No, he was just making shit up. Oh, this executive order that Biden signed into law, you know, like forced everybody in the military to go through training, sat down by their superiors where they were told that white people are timely and black people aren't timely. Just completely made up. A complete fictitious delusion. There's literally more evidence that the earth was flat or that Bush did 9/11 than for whatever the hell that guy was arguing. But then he spent the next hour trying to find absolutely any way to prove that this complete delusion was true. I mean, he would have seriously had like a easier time convincing me that like I'm living in Portugal, right? Because, you know, I'm in fucking Colorado. He would have had an easier time convincing me that I'm in goddamn Portugal right now than convincing me that the military was telling people that black people aren't timely. Like, oh my God, very insufferable.
The wild thing to me is like, this is the first time I've ever heard you accept the trust me, bro. And he couldn't even come through with the trust me, bro. Like,
yeah.
The first time I've ever, you literally
like specific like an hour and a half straight.
一個ずつ開けるとかあんのよ。天ぷら専門店。そうそうそうそう。汚い店は、美味しいラーメン。マリーさん。そうとは限らへん。そうとは限らへんで。この間、汚いラーメン。さあ、いや、入ったら、プレゼントで G がついてきたっていう店やったよ。こってりの上に、G がこうやって、クロールしとったらしいで、こうやって。G のクロール。G がクロールして、美味しいよ、言うて。美味しいよ、言うて。なあ、俺んとこ、この間、マクドで、ポテトに入っとったで。マクド。どこのマクドとは言わんけど、ポテトの中、こう、娘がこうやってポテト食うてったら、最後そこの方に、そう。んで、娘が電話かけたんよ。娘が電話かけたら、そのマクドのポテト、タダにしますっていう電話だけやった。料金返すので、みたいな。もうそれ言うてまえや、とか言うてんけど。俺は、もういいとか言うて。 キモいやろ。その対応がよ。対応がね、大丈夫です。OK, thank you. そういう問題じゃない。いいやろ。だからその娘がそれでもうどうしようとか言って。で、俺が電話しようかとか言うて、やからみたいになるからやめてって言われてんけど。やからみたいになるからいいとか言ったんやけどさ、結構こういうクレーム多いから、そういうクレームがあるからさ、ふざけてる対応。でも、ほんまに俺が電話かけようかって言うたもん。そうやろ？なんか、こっちが、そういうのあったら、やからですかみたいな。イメージに取られるのが嫌やん。お金が欲しいんですかとか。そういう風に思われるのが嫌やから言わんようにしてんねん。まあでも、この辺って言うたらもう分かってまうもんな。大体どの辺になるかな、あそこかな、ここのかな、そこかな、みたいな。知らず。あるよ。俺は結構言うタイプやねん。店員さん、ちょっと待って。何今日、俺、宝くじが当たったみたいな。これ当たって、あなたに見せると、何がもらえるの？これ、一等賞。金賞、銀賞、D 賞みたいな。俺はそういう風に言うタイプ。店員さん読んでな。めっちゃなんかラッキー、超ラッキーみたいな。超ラッキー。嫌味じゃないよ、俺は。ね、めっちゃ超ラッキーなんだけど、ちょっと来て。何これ、何等賞みたいな。何等賞みたいな。嫌味に言うたら周りに聞くやんか。ね。京都風の言い方。俺、京都風かな。髪があってんけどって言われたら嫌やん。なんやねんみたいな。優しく言う感じ。すいません。あ、そうなんみたいな。ね。逆に来い。俺はそういう感じ。ずい。そういう感じで言う感じやで。俺はな。ね。俺はそういう感じ。ね。理解した？ OK、理解した？いつまでかと。ここおめさん、ずいありがとう。今日もみんな長いことありがとうな。ずいありがとう。今日はありがとう。ちょっと、クミニャンちょっと名前呼ぶね。名前呼ぶからちょっと待ってて。今日のナンバー5